Hello, everybody. I am now here. And if y'all can hear me, please let me know. One moment. I'm just trying to get started here. There we go. I can see everything now. Oh my gosh. Yes, Salty. You can hear me? Okay, good. Good. Oh my gosh, wow, that was crazy. I've only been trying for about half an hour. Anyways, yes, please do. Thank you so much. And then also, uh, if anybody wants to join me, if you can, that would be awesome. Uh, invite guests. I will, let me copy and I can't see chat. Post, never mind, got it. Got it. So there is my link if y'all want to join me. And I can see everything. Yay! Still have my old logo up. Have to get my new one up, but that's okay. Oh. I'll kind of wait for people to join in. I know Salty's here. That's what was confusing to me, was on this new laptop I have, or iPad or whatever. It's hard to get from, I guess, to the StreamYard. So I have the app, but I have to go to the actual site and whatnot. So I'm just happy to be here. I know Dago is still live, and they're gonna go live in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about Lauren Johansson. And I don't know if y'all heard me on my other live, but it is just one of the most, if not the most, slip through the cracks cases I've ever heard. I mean, like I said, like my big question is when are, ooh, I got a guest. Salty at stage.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Salty. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Have you heard about Lauren Johansson?
No, I haven't. And I just left
Oh,
Dago's stream and told them I was coming over. I think they're going to be wrapping up soon. And So maybe we'll get some
Oh,
more pop in from that. But no, I have
yeah.
not heard. I don't think I have anyway.
Oh my Lord. It happened over the 4th of July, and they were the high school on and off sweethearts, I think. And I think they were like 19 maybe or something. And he was out on parole for something, um, but never should have really gotten out because they told him that immediately upon his release that he was going to have to go get his ankle monitor for his probation, right?
Yeah.
And they told them that the main ankle monitor company that he was supposed to go to closed at a certain time and he wouldn't have time to get there. So if he couldn't be released before 4 p.m., that they'd have to wait till the next day. And guess what?
Yeah, that's like usually the protocol for that.
They released him at 4:01.
What?
Yep.
That's negligence right there. Now, is that the
Yep.
guy? Didn't he do something to her? Did he kill her?
Oh yeah. Smashed her face in unrecognizably.
Mm, I hate hearing that stuff because that's a direct failure to protect.
No, they failed on so many other parts though. He was supposed to go get his ankle monitor and not released after 4 p.m.
Yeah.
He was released at 4:01 and went to the other ankle monitor place that didn't have the exact settings that he needed. He was also told he was not allowed to go to Mississippi with his family. He ended up in Mississippi anyways because he told the ankle monitor place that they said that he could go and they just took his word for it.
Well, they should have known better.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people should have known better. But now, so they finally found her car in the woods or maybe it was his car, I don't know. They found a car next to the woods after not hearing from the woman for 2 days. Reported her missing, found her car, found her in her car, and found him in the woods. And so they like lured him out of the woods and obviously arrested him. But now, um, I mean, that I guess the someone from the office called her dad and said that they had let Bryson out, and they were trying to just make sure that he knew for Lauren's safety. And he's like, well, I haven't been able to get a hold of her for 2 days.
Oh
And so
no.
yeah, so then the hunt was on for him, reported her as missing, and the hunt was on for him. Finally found him in the woods somewhere and all this stuff. And she was badly beaten in unrecognizably and
Mm.
all this. So now I think if I was her family, her parents, I would sue everybody involved.
Yeah, I would be talking to a lawyer so fast because
I
that's a complete
I
failure. We keep seeing the failures of the systems with these types of people. You
but
know,
and my question is this is when are people of authority going to start being authoritarian and following simple directions so
and do
things
their
like this don't
protocol.
happen? I
Right,
don't
because
understand it.
if he was required to put that ankle monitor on before he was, released, that should have
Well,
absolutely happened.
he was supposed to go straight to the ankle monitor store.
Yeah, because usually you can.
And
Well,
it closed at
see, at
like
our county jail, they'll fit you for they'll do all that. They have a fitting, so sometimes if you
yeah.
you have to wait, but they make sure all that's done before you can leave there.
Mhm.
Everything is set
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So if there was a breakdown somewhere in
Yep.
that system. So
Yep.
I would absolutely sue for because if nothing else, you can promote change, you
Mhm.
know, and sometimes that's exactly what it takes is pushback from people who have had enough.
I just like I said, this is literally, if not the most slip through the cracks case I've ever heard.
Yeah,
How
I
many
would
more
be.
times can you slip through the cracks, people?
Yeah,
And
that's ridiculous.
just like with Audrey Cunningham, that
Yep,
man that man should have never even been out with
shouldn't
his
have been
rap
anywhere
sheet.
near her. Mm-mm.
And I
And
mean,
I did a TikTok where I had seen the interview with the girl he also attacked when she was younger.
Mm-hmm.
When she was
The one
her,
that he almost,
mhm,
the
yeah,
one that he almost did, but because it didn't happen, he didn't get charged.
yeah,
That's
um,
crap.
yeah, that TikTok blew up on my channel. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Oh, I'm
it got
sure.
so it did, and I left it pinned for a long time because people needed to see it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They needed to hear what she had to say and how if he
Yeah.
had been
Yep.
prosecuted for what he tried to do to her, he might not have had the chance to do it to Charlotte.
Well, he never would have. He never would have been able to. He would have been in jail when Audrey was born.
I meant Audrey. I said Charlotte. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because this man should have been in jail when she was born and never
Yeah,
let out.
exactly.
But then again,
Exactly.
I mean, I understand that's on the courts, but there's also parent responsibility too. Like, don't let your child around
Yeah,
an
you don't,
RL.
and you don't put them kind of people in your backyard and serve your child up on a
Yeah,
silver
yeah,
platter
no,
to just
no, no, no.
anybody that you. Yeah, no, that's not going
Now,
to
I
happen
have
in
a
my world.
question, and you'll know this. I have a question, and you'll know this.
Hmm.
Stefan Stearns,
Hmm.
did he have a history?
Not that we have seen.
That's
Nothing.
I haven't heard anything about it, so I was like, does he have anything
He,
previous?
as
And
far as we know, the people, all the people that have dug into him, there are no priors for anything like this.
that is
But
just
that doesn't
crazy.
mean it wasn't going on. Do you know what I mean?
Right, right. Just because you're not caught doesn't mean it's not
Right. We don't know
going
if there
on.
were other little girls young that the
Yeah,
relationships didn't last long, but for whatever reason with the mom or however his connection to that child was,
yeah.
he may have been briefly in their lives and they may have been so young they don't remember,
Right.
or you know what I mean, can
Or
barely
the
remember,
mom,
whatever.
or salty.
Hmm.
The moms could have been smarter than Jen Soto,
Exactly. And got away quick.
which
Exactly.
doesn't take much, but
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. But yeah, as far as we can tell through all the digging, there's a lot of interesting things in that guy's past, but that's one thing we haven't found is anything like that. I think there's some speeding tickets from when he was younger because his parents did spoil
Mhm.
him and he had a little souped up, rice burner to run around town in. So he has a little souped up ride, but I think he
Yeah.
got speeding tickets is about the worst that dude got. Honestly, I think he was scared to get anything, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking he would have been like terrified to go to jail for the night for a speed, you know what I mean, for anything.
Yeah.
But there was
Yeah.
an incident now, according to one of the neighbor, or not the neighbor, but the ex roommate that grew
Mhm.
up with Stefan. When, and I believe this occurred out in California, and I've tried to look into it and I can't find any articles, nothing really related to it. Doesn't mean it's not out there. I just didn't do a deep dive. But
Mhm.
allegedly, there was an incident. They're all walking down the street. They're like 14 years old. There's a man, and the man says something to this group of kids, and Stefan gets sideways with this man. They argue, and he stabbed the guy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what the friend said. And then I don't know whatever happened with that. He didn't really talk about that afterward because I think it was a Gray Hughes interview. And then the next roommate was, or it might have been the same guy. No, he said he moved out. And then that's when the other guy moved in. And that's the guy that caught Stefan with all the CSAM. And that guy's mom paid, or Stefan's mom paid the guy off to stay quiet.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
So he's kind of a spoiled little.
Oh, yes. They've,
I mean,
from everything. And there's a lot I
hence why
haven't.
he's acting like a child now. I mean,
Yeah, big man baby, and that's the why his parents and him communicate like they do, because there's still a lot we got to get into his psyche about
yeah.
that we're going to cover, but there's a lot there in those Reddit posts and the information I do have about him and his mom and things like
Yeah.
that we haven't even touched on yet that kind of
Yeah.
builds a profile on him, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, if there's one to
And
build, you want to build them on your I do on my suspects.
yeah, and I also heard that Caleb Harris's death is still under investigation.
So, well, the autopsy has come out, and what we do know from that is they don't have a determination of the
It's
cause of death.
undetermined.
Undetermined. No trauma to the body or no signs of trauma. I'm assuming the autopsy decided that. But we were reviewing some stuff in Dago's life the other day about how
Mhm.
a while back, I don't want to misquote how long ago it was. It wasn't that long ago, last month maybe. There
Mm-hmm.
was like a issue at the pump there, the water treatment facility. And when they went to investigate it, they found a human bone. Now, how long between that that is
Sometime.
allegedly what prompted a further search, which led to Caleb.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that bone became dislodged from the body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I was like, well, wait, was that broken? What did it break off? How did what had that how'd that
Yeah. I
occur?
heard that they
But
found
then
like
it's
an arm or something a few days before, and
I
that's
don't.
what
The article just referred to a bone, and then
a
Jago and
bone.
I were talking about it on the live, and he's like, "Well, your body starts to break down, and things separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
apart."
Mm-hmm.
So, those other potatoes are ready here. So yeah, that's all we know at this point. Now, there
Yeah.
was a post put out. I don't know where. I think it came from a Facebook group. Something about the lid to the hole where they would have lifted up to find him would have
Oh
had these
yeah.
big padlocks on it. But then, if we reviewed a guy's video of that particular facility, and there were multiple layers with locked gates before you could even get to that point, and none of that was apparently tampered with. Do you know what I mean? Nobody cut
Yeah.
locks off and went in and
Yeah. So
purposely
no,
did it. Do
no
you remember? Do you
suspicious
remember
foul
watching a
play.
video on Dagos about the lady who was in that field and found the well hole and there
I
was a
believe
lid
so.
off of
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay, well we found an article and I have it somewhere. I think it's in my Discord. Um, but I linked it to Dago for the show the other day, and in that article it says that the police believe that was the entry point for him. And we're like, oh, okay,
Oh, like
so
that big hole that
yes.
he could have fallen in?
Mm-hmm. So we reviewed
Okay.
some stuff. I think the live was like 2 or 3 days ago, and we reviewed some different people's footage of
Mm-hmm.
things around there. And one guy did a pretty deep dive. I want to say he was a TikTok guy. I don't know him, but he had
Yeah.
some pretty good stuff out about it, about the way those drains all flow toward that system and
Yeah.
all this stuff. So a lot of that was in there, but that's what the article said, was they believed that was the entry point. Well, then all of us were like, well, there's a random lid off there. That's kind of dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
But there was a kid the other day, I forget where it was, and I saw it briefly on one of the feeds on my YouTube news, but he fell down a backyard well, and
Yeah.
luckily there wasn't water in it because he went straight down. The mom panicked. They didn't even know it was out there. It was
Mm-hmm.
uncovered, everything. And that's how these random holes are all over the country. That
And
worried
that
me
little
with
boy that was
Sebastian's
found in the
case.
water, and that little boy that was found in the water a couple days ago.
Hmm. Yeah, he wandered off from his birthday party and he had autism.
Yeah.
And I don't think they suspect foul play there either.
No.
Which they haven't said yet, but I don't think they're I don't think that'll be the case with him, unfortunately. But I know that all of a sudden there was a kid here a week and a half ago, 5 years old, autism, left the house barefoot, drawn to water. They found that
Mm-hmm.
baby in the water and he wasn't alive.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I don't know if it's social media awareness. We're all talking about it. We see these stories way more, but these kids are so drawn to water and barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't have an autistic child, but man, I think
See,
things
and
would be
that's
tied up
weird
like Fort
because
Knox right now if I did. You know what I mean? It's hard to
yeah,
say. I'm not throwing a shade at
my
anybody, but oh,
cousin, my cousin that's autistic, um, well, first off, his dad, so my, closer cousin, his dad was actually caught in a flood, and him and his best friend, and I think I've told you guys this before, but anyway, him and his best friend went out to check their cattle, and they got caught in the river water and in the flood that was coming, and our golf course was supposed to open the next day, and it was $1 million golf course, back in the you know, in the 90s. So that was a lot of money back then. It was, you know, going to be a beautiful golf course. They went out to check their cattle the night before, and the floodwaters came, and they got caught in the floodwaters, had to climb a tree, and spent like 12 to 15 hours in a tree before the helicopter came and got them.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
that
so his
that happens
father,
with hurricanes a lot. People get
so his
trapped like that.
father, yeah. So his father is extremely afraid of water. His
Mm-hmm.
mother, however, was a lifeguard. So, you know, I'm sure that she taught them, you know, water safety and everything.
Yeah.
But his dad to this day, I think, is absolutely terrified of water,
Oh, I would
which I would
imagine.
be too. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like, and then this Ryan Larson kid that's missing here, and has been for about 3 years, three, maybe four, I think 3 years now. Um, uh, he they said that he liked the water too, and so they went out and searched this whole like lake area by his apartment, but I don't think they found anything. I mean, if they have, they haven't told us, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's, you know, accidents happen, and I also think that, a lot of mom can tell you, a lot of accidents probably happen in the Cumberland, which I think is, I mean, I know Riley has some other situations going on, you know, like whatever, but I think if they don't come up with any foul play, then I do think that an accident is very likely in his case.
I believe it was. We didn't see anything yet
Which
to
is
indicate.
frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see anything to indicate otherwise. And the thing about
Yeah.
those rivers being along those areas where the bars are
Well,
at,
and
it
mom
kind
said
of,
that, you know, those currents
yeah.
can go really, really fast.
Our rivers here, we have some of the strongest currents because they
Yeah.
actually do training here for the military. Swiftwater rescue training
Okay.
is done around the rivers here.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate how strong
Yeah.
that, how powerful that stuff can really be
Mhm.
unless they're not used to it, or
Yeah.
see it firsthand. And I'm very used to stuff like that.
And Riley,
Um,
I mean, he went to Missouri. Like, it's not like they have waters like that in Missouri. I mean, at
well,
least not
and
a,
if
well,
you
they
don't know the
might,
area and it's dark and it's
but
crazy around there from the
circumstances.
way it sounds,
Circumstances
yeah, he was
play a
obviously
lot.
intoxicated. You can't look at
Yeah.
those videos and say that he wasn't.
He was very
Um,
intoxicated. I
you
get
have to
that.
keep it logical, and the autopsy did say there was a lot of alcohol, THC, all the things
Yeah.
were there.
Yeah.
Um, and you can tell by the way he's walking. And after he
Uh,
fell and hit his head,
mhm.
he was
Yeah.
really not doing well. He was
No.
doubled over.
Yeah.
Like literally in that one video, the boy can't
Mhm.
even stand up straight, and I was really concerned about a head injury.
Yeah.
So if you're walking after that and you do have some sort of head trauma, even if it's a mild concussion, that
And
may
then
affect,
you
and you're already, intoxicated.
not thinking straight, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get into
That's dangerous.
and then you get into a slope like that,
Yeah.
because
And also, who
JLR.
was it? Someone made a comment in the chat the other day about the Nissan Stadium there in Nashville.
Oh, not a
And
good area.
I just, something about, there were jammers on the building to combat, like, for like safety for terrorism and stuff like that. And that was
Mhm.
jamming signals on people's GPS, causing
Oh,
them to go toward
oh,
the
to
river
go.
versus toward
Oh,
like a
yeah.
hotel. And I thought, well, that's an interesting comment. If that is true, they need
Is the
to correct it,
case. Yeah.
you know.
So it was
So
it
I
was
don't
not it
know.
was directing people in the wrong directions.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that they would watch their G, because there was that lady that the other day that went missing from the bar. I did a
Mhm.
TikTok on her, but it was a release. There was a missing woman there, right there, right where she was found, right where Riley was. And she was alive. But when they found her,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
she took off after the bar. She took off across the street with her shoes and shit in her hand. But and then she went missing. Well, when they found her the next day, she's literally standing there muddy, like she
Mm-hmm.
rolled down the embankment.
Yeah.
But she was fine. We don't know if she was following the GPS and it took her the wrong direction. What's happening
Yeah.
here? Are they overindulging and this is what happens?
Yeah.
That they walk off into the river? Then maybe y'all need to put some really good barriers up.
Right.
Some
I would
flashing
think that
lights
I
and
would think
different
that that would
things.
already be done.
Y
I would think
well,
that that would already be
yeah,
done, but I guess
and
not.
like I said, this lady literally was right there in the same area.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, blocks from where
Yeah,
Riley was.
Riley was, yeah.
Mhm. And I thought that
Yeah.
was the craziest thing, so how can we sit there and see that and not think he coulda had an accident, like
Yeah.
she apparently did?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
She
assuming
just
she
happened
rolled down
to
there, maybe it knocked her out for a minute, and she just I don't know how she was down there, they never followed up with the backstory on that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About what was going on, why she was all dirty looking. It's like she
Yeah.
rolled down that embankment.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm actually kind of glad now that I didn't get to go downtown when I was there cuz
Right?
I mean, I don't not saying that anything bad would have happened, but I was kind of
Yeah.
sketched out about the whole situation.
Yeah, of
Um,
course, especially if you're traveling alone.
yeah. And it was raining that day and I've never been to the city before and I wasn't willing to take that risk, I
No,
guess.
I
Um,
wouldn't have.
and then did you also hear that I heard that Ellen Greenberg is finally going to get an investigation.
Yeah, Dago was just going over that. I saw it yesterday or the day bef yeah, it was yesterday, I think.
How long has it
I think
been?
the
Like
Supreme Court
13 years or something
it's
like
been a
that?
long time, and I think that the Supreme Court has weighed in and decided to do whatever's going on was a Supreme Court decision.
It's
And
mind-boggling. That case is mind-boggling to me. And I watched Nancy Grace's uh uh session on it yesterday too.
mhm.
And she talks to who did she talk to?
I missed
Um
that one, I haven't seen that one yet.
she talked to some guy about it and asked if she's right-handed, how could she stab herself from one way to the other and then have three fatal wounds, and three of the stab wounds are in the back of her head,
Mhm.
and they're at, like, if you stab yourself fatally once, that's one time, right? That's one time. You
Yeah,
can't stab
exactly.
yourself three times fatally, I don't believe.
And not as many wounds that she had and all the ones to the back of her head.
Nancy was guessing 20.
Yeah, it never made sense, and when they showed the diagram, gosh, a year ago, I think it was, of all the
Mm-hmm.
entry points and
Mm-hmm.
the diagonals of all the how they got in there,
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's
They don't make sense.
no way that that woman did that to herself.
They
I
don't
mean,
make sense.
you'd have to be a complete psychotic person to do that to yourself.
Well, but I'm wondering, they said that you could fall on a knife, but that
That many times?
not that many times. So literally nothing is making sense.
Mm-mm.
Nothing is
'Cause
making
the
sense.
first time
So,
I fell on the knife, I'm gonna make sure it's not there anymore. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I see you're disoriented, you're all hurt, but you're not gonna continue to fall on top of a knife.
But
How's it gonna stand up?
yeah, and then they were talking about the lock on the door where there was a way that he could have gotten in, but there was no sign of like forced entry at the window.
No, and apparently the door was locked when he got home
Yeah.
and he busted in to find her,
Yeah.
allegedly.
He asked the
Well,
I
that's
heard that
his
he
story, though.
asked
See, that's his story.
yeah. I heard that he initially said, didn't he initially say that he asked one of the office people to let him in or something?
Now that I don't know.
because the door was locked. I'm not. I
Did
thought I
he
heard
not
that.
have did he not have a key? I guess he
Well,
didn't. It was her place.
I think he just went to the gym
Yeah.
downstairs for 20 minutes, and this is what he came back to.
And
20
so
or
he got,
30 or
yeah.
45 minutes or something like that. Like not a
Yeah, because
very
I know I heard
long.
that he's claimed the door was locked when he got back, and then he gained entry and found her in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just so weird. And
I
the poor
wonder if
girl was 27 and she was a first grade teacher or something, and
I need to look at some of the documents. I wonder if there was a camera outside those apartments that show him going back to that door and it's locked.
mhm.
There may not be a camera trained on that door, but
Yeah,
no,
a lot of apartments don't have cameras cuz they don't want to be held responsible for shit like that.
yeah,
They don't want to be in the middle of shit like that.
yeah.
Cuz I remember when my laundry got stolen, I asked and they said no, we don't have any in the laundry rooms.
Well, I had a storage unit once. Had moved to my cousin's for a while, and I had
Mhm.
everything in a storage unit. They called me one day to let me know my lock was busted. I'm like, and this is an indoor, you know what I mean? It's in climate controlled and all that. So
Yeah.
it's inside because in Florida you have to have that. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? I got a really good padlock on that thing. I bought the good one.
Yeah.
So I go down there and lo and behold, it was busted. And when I opened up that door, all my stuff had been gone through. A lot of it was gone, this, that, the other. So I
Yep.
called the cops, made the report, and I'm looking around at the cameras. And I told the cop, I said, see that camera right there? She's like, oh, yeah. I was like, look where it's pointing. It was completely away from the
Yep.
business, like
Yep.
up in the air, not even mattering, didn't even care where it was pointing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I said, if that camera had been operating correctly and pointed in the right direction, you'd have seen who got into my storage unit.
Yeah.
I was so aggravated because
Just
it's,
like when my car got stolen at work the other day, like I was parked just off of where the camera ended.
mm, that's crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm parking on the other side where the camera, where, it's in more clear
Yeah,
vision, but I can't see my car. And it's like, you know, I I'm gonna get an air tag though and everything. So
yeah.
hopefully that
Are you
won't.
in a really big city?
I'm in Omaha, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like it's like it's a little over a half a million
yeah,
with everybody.
yeah.
Um,
That's a fairly
in
big place.
the entire metro, I don't know
Yeah.
how many we
No,
have,
it's a
but
very, very populated area there.
yeah.
So
Well, but the thing
crime can occur
is
all over town in places that big. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it doesn't like I say, it doesn't. Where my car was stolen because it was stolen twice, and it was right across the street from each other because I used to live right across the street, or used to live right across the street from work. But my apartment complex was right across the street from work. But it's not a bad part of town. It's considered West Omaha, which is the better part of Omaha. But it's a busy part of town. I mean, there's a high school, there's 6 apartment complexes, there's businesses, there's gas stations, there's, restaurants, there's plazas, there's everything. So it's not like, and it is the main street of town. It's on Dodge. So Dodge is the main street in town, and it's at a major intersection. So it's a busy part of town. I wouldn't say it's a bad part of town. Probably just depends on, but I will say this, my apartment complex was very sketchy, and the apartment complex that's right by work is kind of sketchy. I mean, there are apartments where you're probably paying less than you would for a, nicer updated apartment. They're not updated, I don't think. So you're going to be paying less than you are for the updated ones. Um, but yeah, I'm going to be getting, I have the more safety features now because I have the push start. And I got and I'll be getting my AirTag soon. So yeah, but yeah, things can be broken into anywhere, anytime. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on Lauren. Just that's
I
awful.
was sitting here muted and I was talking to you and I'm like, I looked down like, does she not hear me? And I'm like, I'm all damn
Oh,
on mute. But yeah, it can happen anywhere. You just never
yeah,
know, you know.
yeah.
It's
You gotta be safe
it could be
everywhere.
totally random. You could be in a safe area and something still could happen.
And you could be in a small town and something could happen too. So,
Most definitely. Good Lord, we know that's
and
true.
yeah, so I do have a little bit of an update. I don't know if everybody's heard. Um, and I'm not sure yet. It's going to take probably several days to weeks to identify this, but there was a fisherman out in Stanton County here in Nebraska on um, Sunday, and he was fishing and he found a skull in the in the lake that he was fishing in, or in the stream or wherever that he was fishing in. So
Mm,
he obviously called the authorities, and I don't know. It's good. Like I say, it's going to take probably weeks to identify, but
yeah.
it could be the missing guy from Lincoln, is what I'm thinking.
I was about to
Tyler,
say anybody
yeah,
from the area missing right now.
yeah, Tyler Goodrich. He's been missing since November.
I think I remember hearing that name.
Yeah,
I think I've seen the story on him, I think.
yeah. He was on. It was on News Nation, and then they also did
Oh, okay.
a Dateline, not very long ago. I think on like the 22nd or 23rd of July, they did a
That could have been where I saw it.
Dateline did a podcast. Josh did
Okay.
a podcast on it.
Well, I listen to it in the
Um,
car a lot when I'm driving. If there's not a good stream going, that's
yeah,
usually what I end up listening to. So that's probably where I heard the name.
yeah, and I don't know. They still we. It's frustrating because they're still pointing the finger at his husband and everything, and I just don't know because has he said some things? Yes, but has things been proven? Absolutely not. So
And people say a lot when there's a case happening.
yeah, and but law enforcement, I mean, in my opinion, and I can say this here, I have to kind of be careful about what I say in the public, but
Yeah.
I can say it here, but law enforcement came out and said, what did they say? Something about Marshall has stopped cooperating with us. Okay?
Oh
Well,
Lord.
that makes him look like,
Hmm.
suspicious. The only thing he did to stop cooperating was lawyer up. How is that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, law enforcement likes to say that for some
but
reason.
then he said something, they said, why did you do this or why did you do that? And he took a lie detector test and passed, and now they want him to
Mhm.
take another one, and his lawyer is saying no. But he said, why, something about, why have
You're
you,
gonna get one of those out of me, and that's it because they're not even admissible in court.
well,
You
yeah.
know.
And the other thing is they asked him why he did something or why he said something or whatever, and he said, well, the damage was already done.
Uh,
And people are taking that like, uh, and he's like, well, I think what he meant was law enforcement had already basically accused me.
right. He's already
So,
been
yeah. So,
accused in the public eye.
and I'm not saying he didn't have anything to do with it, but he was on the phone with 911 when Tyler went missing because they had a scuttle, okay? They had a scuttle, and um Marshall felt like, you know, Tyler was being over aggressive, maybe, and called
Yeah.
911. And then when he called 911, there's a ring cam that's catching a guy going out, you know, running by the house, that they think Tyler had gone in the garage and ran out the house. And that was when he was on the phone with 911. So then he was never returned again. So he has an alibi that, I mean, to me, he has an alibi that he was on the phone with 911, and 911, you know, got there and he was there like 5 minutes later. He was there. You can't go do something with anybody in 5 minutes.
So they think that he harmed his friend and then called 911 or something like that.
That's what they're saying, but they have the phone pings that he was on the phone when he called 911, and Tyler going out the house when he was on the phone, never to be returned again.
So do they think he hung up with the
So
911 call and then ran
I'm
out after him? Or
I,
it's weird.
yeah, not sure if they think that he did something after the 911 call and after the police were there, but I don't know. It's just messy.
And yeah, if there's no arrest, like the other day,
Yeah, no
I think
arrests,
it was yesterday we were talking, or it
but
might have been the day before.
he's never been okay, it's kind of like uh Chris and Katie. He's never been to a search. He's never helped out. But is that because law enforcement's told him not to? And he's also saying, you know, they have two boys. So that I think they adopted two boys. Well, one of them is old enough to work because he was working at the grocery store at the time that this happened. The other one I don't know about, but but he said that, you know, he doesn't attend those things because he has to make sure that the boys are safe, and you know that the boys have a normal routine, you know, um
Yeah.
as normal as possible. And
Hmm.
you know, they were discussing divorce, which, you know, whatever, but that doesn't, just because you're getting a divorce doesn't mean, you know, that you're going to go off your person.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know, it's just really, really,
well,
he has he
if
done his some things can just be taken one of two ways, and you can take it however you want, but until there's, you know,
yeah,
actual
it's
proof.
when people start speaking out, whether it's a suspected
Hello, Doodle.
suspect or if it's like family members. There was a case somebody wanted to review the other day. I don't think it was Dago's Live, but the information was coming from two different sides of families, and I'm backing out right then because I'm not. Do you know
Yeah,
it's a dangerous slippery slope to me on YouTube when I start looking at a case and I only know what either side of a family is telling me because
right,
I don't know these people from
right,
Adam. I couldn't tell you if they're lying to me, throwing me shit, if
right.
they're how fake they are. I know nothing about them, so why would I take their word for anything or pick one over the other? Because
Yeah,
how am I supposed to know anything? I just know what they're both telling me. You
yeah,
know,
and
so
like
it gets
it,
that's why I try to. Even when we talk about like you with Delphi, we will speculate, but we're speculating about court documents.
mm-hmm.
And
And
we will speculate about things sometimes outside of a document, but I don't want to have a conversation about a case where I'm only getting information from two sides of families.
right.
That's a slippery slope I don't want to partake in.
And do I think, you know, like in Sebastian's case, do I think Chris and Katie are absolutely suspicious? Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Do I
I
think
can agree.
Seth is absolutely suspicious? Absolutely.
Yeah,
But no, but do I think that at this point, can I think that any one of them had anything to do with it? Absolutely not. You want to
me
know
either.
why? Because there hasn't been an arrest.
Yeah, I don't. Law enforcement, either Katie's that damn good or they're convinced
Mhm.
she didn't do anything.
or I right now, as far, and I think a lot of people are with me, is that he walked out the door, like somehow he walked out the door.
He walked
Somehow.
out with it. He walked out on his own accord. I will,
Yes.
until they show me something telling me
Otherwise,
he didn't. I'm going to
nope.
believe he went out that door for that cat outside that window that he loves so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not taking your shoes, your jacket, your phone, your Nintendo, you're just going to go out and you're coming right back in. But why
Yeah.
didn't he? Why didn't he, if that's the case? That's where I get stuck. Did he chase the cat down Kellen back towards the pond and into the woods because he just wanted it so bad? It was almost daylight. He could see a little. I don't know. How far did he get? Did he fall in a hole?
Right. Crime
Did he
of
seek shelter
opportunity.
in a, did he, yeah, crime of opportunity? Did he seek shelter in a cave and it collapsed? There's so many possibilities outside of those parents. It's not even
Mm-hmm.
funny. And if you aren't willing to entertain those possibilities, I'd just say watch more true crime.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yep.
call anybody an idiot like I saw happen today with people, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Go do your research. You don't have to agree with me on anything. And I don't got to agree with you, but I'm not going to sit up here and tell you and insult your intelligence
Right. I
and tell you,
just
wait till it slaps you in the face. Motherfucker, let me come slap you in the face.
um but
Sorry. Salty just got salty, y'all.
but yeah, like it's just bizarre to me how many like conclusions people come up with.
Yeah.
And but in, I've told Dago this and you this before, and I'll say it again, like I know we're all frustrated, but can you imagine law enforcement?
Exactly.
I can't
I mean,
imagine.
I can imagine it, but at the same time, and I think people take it the wrong way when I say law enforcement needs to communicate better. When I
Oh,
say communicate,
absolutely.
look up the definition of the word communicate. It doesn't say tell me everything you know about this case. It tells you
Mm-hmm.
to communicate. So when I say they need to communicate better, you absolutely need to come out there and address some things sometimes. You just need to.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
you just have to.
law enforcement and healthcare are two of the most miscommunicated industries there are. And
Absolutely.
they're two of the most important industries that we have.
Exactly. And you don't come out the gate yelling at me that help you, help you, help you. And I understand, and I'm willing to do whatever I can to help in an investigation. But then
Mm-hmm.
when you want to put the brakes on and shut everybody down, now what? Give
Yeah.
me updates, follow-ups. Can I ask a few questions here and there? Something. But
Yeah.
when we see totally nothing, I get it. Close to the vest, all that stuff. Don't integrity of the case. You're preaching to the choir. I've been doing this for
Mm-hmm.
way too long. I know, but communicating is not meaning you got to go out there and tell me everything you know because I know you're not. You know, but when these cases start to get super sideways
Mm-hmm.
and allegations are
Well,
being
I don't
made like a random car and this and that.
I'm wondering this though, Salty. Is it sideways? It's not sideways because of law enforcement. It's sideways because of
Yes.
social media
Well, most of the time.
most of the time.
Most of the time, because
Look
I
at uh,
Delphi. They
Delphi,
cause
look
their
at
own bullshit with all those press conferences. People will say, well, so did Idaho. I see those cases
Idaho,
very differently. They're very, very different
different
cases to me.
cases. Yeah, they really are.
Different circumstances.
Did
Everything about them
Delphi,
is different.
okay, did Delphi happen in 2017 or 2019?
2017, February.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. I did a live on, I think it was Sunday. I went live. Dago was having some tech issues and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I went ahead and went live Sunday and we started the
Mm-hmm.
Delphi. And he came up on panel. And then I had a tech issue. Well, last night we started round two, but I had a tech issue. My cat knocked me offline on my computer. So I shut everything down and he went live. So we started the second. But if you want a little refresher, you can go review the one I started on Sunday. I think it was Sunday when I did my
Uh,
live.
so question about that. The
Hmm.
lady, um, Ron's ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
What did she say?
Well, she has actually been talked about in a couple of court documents, and we had Sleuthy Goosey on panel
I saw that.
last night. Yeah, and I've got to go back and get the exacts on stuff like that because I can't remember all of it. There's so much Idaho brain and Delphi brain. I got so much in there.
Yeah.
I have to go back and really review specifics on certain things. But now, what was your question again? I
Just
seem to
wondering
remember.
what
Okay, so
she
the Ron,
incited on.
she said apparently she did reach out to law enforcement early on and tell them she thought that that bridge guy was Ron Logan. But I don't think that was until after the voice audio came out,
Yeah.
and that's what I got to check. But she's also the same lady who went on the CW special, and I've got a video on that as well. But we reviewed her again last night at Dago's, where she is convinced that's Ron Logan on that bridge, and that's his
Mm-hmm.
voice.
That said guys down the hill.
Yeah, that's what she thinks, and she absolutely believes it.
Because didn't
Whether it
one
is or
of
not,
the
I don't know, but
did
I'm
one of
convinced
the
there's two
girls
people involved.
did one of the girls date the son?
Okay, so there's Logan Holder, and he's the son of Brad Holder, and Abby was dating him,
Okay.
and
So
he's a few years older.
Logan Holder. It's not
Yeah.
Ron Logan. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Too many Logans going on.
Yeah, no, Ron
Get them
Logan didn't
straight.
have any children. Yeah, Ron Logan didn't have any kids. None of that. He's already passed away. He's gone. He
Okay.
died of COVID.
But Brad
Um,
Holder is the father of Logan
Brad
Holder,
Holder is the father of Logan Holder.
who
Hmm.
Abby was dating.
Yes.
Abby.
And
Okay.
we reviewed stuff last night about when his initial interview took place. I think that was the 17th, if I'm recalling from memory recall. Um, 17th, and then a few days later, I think Westfall, the other guy, was interviewed, and they cleared them. But
Yeah.
in 2023, they brought them both back in. This
Mm-hmm.
time, they took Westfall's phone. How many years later are you going to take this man's phone?
I was
And you
gonna
don't.
say it's kind
How
of
redundant to do that now.
and a
They
little late,
allegedly,
maybe.
exactly. How many phones has he been through? Does he even
Yeah.
have them old ones? Can you even access those cloud accounts? Did he have cloud accounts from 2017? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions, but I have to be careful with it because not because it came from defense filings. I'm not throwing shade at the defense because they have a good fight, but it came from the prosecution's investigation. But
Right.
then I have to say, well, did they do their due
Due
diligence?
diligence. Yeah.
They claim they can't find anything to tie Holder and Westfall to that scene except a tip that came in early. And I don't know why someone would call this tip in if they didn't know about the crime scene, because all we knew, there were two girls deceased in the woods, but somebody thought enough to make a tip that Brad Holder would do things in the woods
Right.
and was into the runes and the magic and the this and that. And
The
that's
Odinism
allegedly
thing.
how they came. Yeah, that's allegedly how they were turned on to those group of people. And they looked into an entire group and they were all cleared. So I either have to decide they did their job right or they didn't. And
Right.
I don't like being
Y-
that person, but I do have questions in this case. I don't question law. I don't have a general rule where I come out of the gate questioning law
Law
enforcement in a
enforcement.
criminal
Right.
case. I'm not.
Right.
Show me what you got, we'll go from there. But I can honestly say this is the one case I have concerns about. It's not any other case out there, not even Idaho 4. I have no concerns about that case, except which expert am I going to believe?
Right.
Which expert am I going to believe? But Delphi is a whole different ballgame,
Yeah.
and when you need a case tried in the light, it's this one and it's being done in the dark.
Oh
And I
yeah.
don't, and it makes no sense. And
I think with Delphi and Idaho alike, though, the one thing I think they do have in common is that they are, um, they're police force probably has very limited resources.
Oh, I agree.
So I think that's where the whole mess kind of starts,
Well,
is
the difference is though, Idaho welcomed the FBI in and never
yeah,
asked them to leave. It was different with Delphi. FBI
yeah.
came in, started an investigation. There was a task force, a
Well, and
UAV. It was
I think I think you're also talking maybe two different, not that this has anything to do with it, but I think you're probably talking two different political sides of
hmm
things, maybe.
Yes, a
You
little
know,
bit. Well, Indiana and Idaho probably aren't too far off. Okay, because right now these guys in Indiana,
but you've also
what
got
they're
a
affiliated with. Now, look,
West
so check this
Coast
out.
and a Midwest.
Ann Taylor's got a brand new client,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a prison gang Aryan Nation white supremacist member
Yeah.
in Idaho. They have those same affiliate gangs in Indiana, and I'm sure many other prisons.
Yeah.
But this particular brand that they're dealing with in Indiana is based in those Indiana prisons.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you put that in there, and then the guards were wearing the Odinist patches, that wasn't made up. That was
Yeah.
actually happening. And they had to be court ordered to remove them. It's like, who does that? What?
Yeah.
I don't,
And
I just,
I
it,
do also think that
and then
that
that was investigated too. And what?
I think
It's,
yeah, I think that Delphi also had to be a crime of opportunity. Unless unless somehow they knew that they were
well,
going
they,
to the
I think they
bridge.
did. And here's my concern. Libby was very active on social media.
That's the thing right there. I
Libby
didn't know
talked
I
to a
didn't know
lot
how
of
to say
people.
that. Is
Yeah,
did the
yeah,
girls post that
it's
they were
not.
going to the bridge?
Yes, no, I don't think that's what happened. This is nothing, no shade at Libby at all. She was a normal teenage
Oh
girl.
yeah,
She
absolutely.
talked to everybody. I had a
Mm-hmm.
daughter. My daughter was the same way. Didn't meet a stranger. You were her friend. That was it. Give me your
Yep.
number. We're friends now. So Libby was the same way. She talked to everyone, but Libby had a couple of questionable accounts that Libby shouldn't have had. Her own grandmother had to acknowledge that once she found out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with the Keegan Klein account. So, listening to a recent interview, not a recent, an old interview with Kelsey German about
And
what she
that's
says, how things went down that morning, made me stop and think, did those girls talk to somebody they planned to meet? Like, spur of the moment. Because
mm-hmm.
Keegan Klein also stated, well, he said he doesn't remember it, but it did come out in the court documents that he had told law enforcement that his account, the Anthony Schatz account, did
Mm-hmm.
communicate with Libby the night before, the morning of,
Yeah.
and was supposed to meet her out there, but she never showed up. So where's that communication from those two devices? I'd like to see that
Yeah.
communication to
Yeah.
see if it really existed, because then he claimed it didn't exist. But then they searched the Wabash River for 5 straight weeks looking for a cell phone and a knife that Keegan Klein said was thrown in that river after those girls were murdered.
And it was
They
never
found a bunch
found?
of no knife. They found a bunch of cell phones, but none tied to Keegan Klein or Richard Allen.
Wow.
What's Keegan Klein got to do with this? He claims his dad had access to that account. Did other people have access? Did
This
Richard Allen have access to that account? Was he able
mm-hmm.
to get on there and use it? Who got on that account? Who communicated with Libby that morning? And who said, yeah, let's meet at the bridge?
And the other thing is what I want to know. I mean, you might know. I guess I haven't followed the case completely, like closely, but they didn't arrest this man for what, 5 6 years, 5 years later.
5 years. They
And
went through
wasn't his
multiple
picture on
suspects.
the, like, wasn't there a picture or something on the
The sketch of
far
Bridge Guy was hanging in the CVS where he worked.
where?
There
Yeah.
was a Bridge Guy picture hanging in the bar where he frequented, and there's a picture of Rick Allen sitting in that bar, and you can clearly see the drawing of Bridge Guy in the background.
And nobody said anything about.
Nobody noticed that he might resemble that guy or sound like guys down the hill.
Oh,
And they said they went back and did fresh eyes on the case, went back through all the old tips, and lo and behold, here's this tip from 5 years ago from a man that says, I was there that day and here's what I was wearing. And they're like, oh, wait, this sounds like our bridge guy. Let's go get him.
oh my Lord.
And here we are with a pistol taken from his home that they now say that unspent round they found came from that gun on preliminary testing by a state trooper.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And I
It's
hate
just,
to be that way, JC. I don't like it's an icky feeling. I don't like it. I don't want to
yeah,
throw shade at law enforcement like that. You know,
right.
I don't. I don't like it. You know. And in fact, when Dago and I went live on his last night, before I went live, somebody else was live and it was a Delphi show. And they
Mhm.
were doing the same thing we were doing. And then I was live and then we carried back over to Dago's. After that, when we got off, I realized there was another channel that I review from time to time. I'll put it that way. Went live, and boy, were they big mad that we were all going live talking about Delphi and the options and the theories, and not saying Richard Allen was 1,000% guilty. Like, what? I'm 50-50. I have no clue, but I'm allowed to talk about what's in these court documents all damn day if I choose.
Right.
All damn day.
Because they're in court documents. It's not like,
I don't go after people for their feelings on
yeah,
Koberger's
no.
case, but don't insult my intelligence while you're doing it, because then I'm going to say something. You know, I don't insult your intelligence because I think you're believing dumbass theories,
Has
but
a
I'm not
we-
going to
has a
insult,
has a
you know.
weapon ever been found in Delphi?
No, and it just came out, except for the gun at Rick's house and the unspent bullet and the apparently in the 43-second clip of the bridge guy, you apparently can hear one of the girls say the word gun, but we haven't heard that yet. We have not been privy to that. So other than that, no, but it just came out in the 3-day hearings that one of the 61 plus confessions Rick Allen supposedly made, he used a box cutter. But in one of those confessions, he said he shot the girls in the back. Girls weren't shot. And then in another confession, he said he used a box cutter he was issued at CBS and threw it. And I just found this out, if it's correct, because we're having to get notes from people who were in that courtroom and rely
Mhm.
on what they
Yeah.
listened to and their interpretations of what they listened
Mhm.
to. So apparently Holman, the officer over there in Delphi, one of them, hears about that confession, and then Rick supposedly threw the box cutter into the trash behind the CVS. All these years later, he goes to that damn dumpster to look for it. Dude, it's not there if it was there. I'm pretty sure they dumped that thing over the years. It's
Several
not there.
times.
If
Several
it was
times.
ever thrown in there, it's not there now. It's gone.
Right.
But if you review, and I'm going to show another thing maybe when we go live with Dago later, another review, but if you review what they said happened to the girls as far as their wounds, it can't be a box cutter. Too deep, too intense. Libby
Okay.
was cut pretty bad. Her jugular was compromised. I mean, which that probably wouldn't take more than you know, not much. But I
Right.
don't know. At this point, we don't know, but that's what they
So the
claimed.
wounds don't match up with a box cutter, is what you're saying.
Well, we don't know that yet, and
We don't
I don't
know.
know. It's just like a straight slice from what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah.
like it was serrated or
Uh,
anything like that. I think it was
okay.
a very smooth. But if you look at, I've worked with box cutters many times. I was a restaurant manager for years, thousands
Mhm.
of box cutters. They can be very sharp and they can be very, but they're not. They have guards on them. They're only
Yeah.
going to go in
Yeah.
so far and things like
Mhm.
that. So I found it a little. And after hearing the description of what might have happened out there, I don't know if I buy a box cutter was used, you know. But no weapons ever been found except for the gun.
But I
It came
guess
out of,
I guess my question is there was two of them. And however, I don't do you think they were not killed where they were found?
Well, that's a huge debate right now.
I was going to say, is that up for debate? Because
Yeah,
the way they were found doesn't make sense to me. That I think they were put there.
they from what came out in the hearings, they alleged that Abby was right there,
Okay.
but Abby maybe not because of the lack of blood. There was one large pool, two smaller pools, and all three of those were Libby. And when Abby was reclothed, there was no blood on the clothing, hardly any blood on Abby at all. But
So
there
she
was
was
small
maybe.
amount. There were small amounts of her blood there, I believe, but there wasn't a large amount like with Libby. And there was something else that was intriguing about Abby. And she was, graphic warning, she was stabbed in the heart, according to what came out this weekend.
Wow.
And I don't know what bothered me the most was there's that private drive right under that bridge. And I'm going to be showing some really good footage of the bridge to get a good gist of the area. And when I first realized it a long time ago, I was like, wait, what is that? And I began to look and I was like, wait a minute. And it's literally a private drive that runs from 300 North under the Monon High Bridge to a piece of property. And that property was actually searched because that piece of property, the Monon High Bridge ends and you can literally see their home and stuff. So
Didn't you say it was like it was on? Was it Ron Logan's?
yeah, there's two properties. The one I'm referring to right now, the private drive is a different property, but Ron's was right across the creek. And when I show
Yeah.
you guys the map, you'll see what I'm talking about. So if
Yeah.
you end the bridge, directly under it, there's a private drive, but it leads to the house right by the bridge. Ron, you had to cross the pond or the creek to get up to his property where they were found.
But he's
So,
still
but
not
I
far.
always wondered, no, it's right there. I just wondered, once you go down the hill, you're at the private driveway. You cross
Mm-hmm.
it and then you cross the creek and you go up to Logan's property.
Yeah.
So I always wondered, especially when I mapped it myself and went and looked at them, found that cemetery on the opposite side, wondered, can you get in there from there? I've seen people do it on videos. It's treacherous. Mr. Steve, I think, has done it. It's a treacherous little trek from the cemetery to where they were, but it's not impossible at
Right.
all. And if you know the lay of the land, you can literally, there's a trail that kind of, some parts are very steep.
Yeah.
This one guy had to walk way down to find, and then lo and behold, there it was, the way down. And I was like, wow. So,
Yeah.
but I always wondered, was there a car parked down there? And were they driven around to the cemetery and taken in? I don't know. The clothes were found. There was some clothing found in the creek.
Yeah.
Prosecution's alleging they crossed the creek, and at some point, one of those girls fought back, and it was Libby. And once they got up to the crime scene where they were unalived, Libby, after her injuries, still stood up and walked around for a few minutes. And that's when they think she put her hand on the tree and caused the F tree impression with the blood.
Okay.
Mhm. Whether that's all true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's allegedly what they said. That they think that Libby was in a sitting position when her neck was cut and her hands went straight up. And when she did, blood was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess she got up and walked around for a few minutes and
And
until
this
I
is
don't know.
Libby, right?
Yes. And then did they allow her to walk around until she collapsed? Did they
That's what I.
did they go ahead and take care of her? And then she was drugged through the largest pool of blood toward the tree and left by the tree with her arm up
Yeah.
from being drugged, not placed up, touching source posed, according to the prosecution, but drug by the arm, and that's why the arm was extended, which I could see
Yeah.
that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can see both. I can see I
I
can
would
take
just think
Odinism
that there,
completely off the table and still see a way this crime was committed without the Odinism at all. I can do it based on just the lack of or what evidence you do have and don't have. I
yeah,
Y'all want me to, we can strip away everything to do with this case except for the evidence you have, and you still got problems.
yeah. I I just think that I don't know. The more I find out from you about this case, the more I just am like, whoa, like
Yeah, and
it's
it's scary because you don't want things like this to happen where
mm-mm,
there's too many questions involved.
right.
And when somebody, and I'm logical, I know I can see the police did investigate the Odinist angle, but why was it ruled out? They claim that they all had alibis, they can't tie them to the scene. You
Yeah,
really can't tie Richard Allen there either.
right.
And if you had all this overwhelming evidence and you worked so hard for 5 years and you went through all these other people first to get to before you ever got to Richard Allen, where's that strong evidence at?
Yeah.
Um, Other than you getting a tip going, oh, wow, we missed this. He was actually there and he was wearing what? Let's go search his house. Oh, this gun matches this bullet we found. And that appears to be all they have. Um, I do believe there's a very small amount of
But
DNA.
they were not shot, correct?
No, 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 no. They were stab wounds,
So that
cuts.
doesn't add up.
No, it don't. I
I
mean, it
wonder
really
what
don't.
makes some
I
people
can
in
make
law
way more
enforcement
sense out of
I
Koberger's case than I can this one.
well, I wonder what makes law enforcement like think that it makes sense. Like that all these things make sense because so many things don't make sense.
Well, Doug
Like in
Carter over there, the
like in
ISP
Ellen's
guy
case,
tells
why
us,
do they think it was a suicide?
that who knows why
Somebody
the hell
went
would
with
they?
that. Somebody went with that, has blinders on, and don't want to swallow their
Apparently, a
pride.
whole lot of people did
It's
in that particular case. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see that and say what's going on here. You know, there is absolutely some remarkable police departments out there that do an
oh,
amazing job all the time.
150%.
But you also got your bad apples, and you can't throw out the whole bunch for one bad apple. And I don't do
Right.
that.
Right.
That's why I'm not going to ever come out of the gate and say, this is not the
It's law
guy.
enforcement.
Yeah, that's never gonna. I don't want to only look at cases where there's major issues to give me major shit to talk about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I like going
Right.
over the actual ones where they do got the guy and got the evidence, and we're gonna watch
And
this
and
asshole
they
get
got it right.
prosecuted.
And they got it
Right.
right.
Exactly. Yes. And we need more of that. And you would think 2024 and all the
That we would
advancements with technology and DNA and all the things we would
that we would
not be
have more
sitting.
than that.
Yeah, we shouldn't be sitting in a place where we're like, what's going on? You know what?
Yeah.
It's remarkable. And
It's remarkable to me that like YouTubers that, are don't have we don't we're not special, we
no,
don't
not
we
at
don't
all.
have, and we can actually could probably do a better job than
I
these.
agree.
But I wonder if it's just because we like it and it's our hobby, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
these guys depend on it for a lifestyle living to make a living, and they don't want to indulge in it any more than they absolutely have to. And so therefore, when they go home, they don't think about it.
yeah,
But some of this stuff, like, especially like in kids' case, younger people's cases, Abby and Libby, for example, how could you not go home and how could you go home and not think about it?
yeah,
Like if I was the investigator in that case, I would want to get down to it. I would want it to be I would want to get it right. I would want to do things right. I would want to,
Oh,
and
definitely.
and
And
and oh, and for one reason and one reason only, and that's for complete 100 true justice for Abby and Libby. What were they doing wrong that day? Nothing.
exactly.
What was Kaylee and Maddie doing that day that was so wrong? And Ethan and
Absolutely
Xana,
nothing.
nothing. They were young girls wanting to spend a, you know, innocent, warm February day off of school hanging out, going to the bridge. They were safe. They had a ride there. They had a ride home. Maddie and Kaylee got a ride home from the bar. College kids.
Yep.
Okay, like what do college kids do? They want to go out and party. That's fine. They were being as safe as possible about it. Ethan and Xana too. Like,
Yeah,
they
they didn't
they
do
walked.
anything to
They
open
probably
themselves up.
Ethan and Xana probably walked across the field
Oh,
home
I'm sure they did. I'm
from the
convinced
frat
they did.
house. They
I'm
didn't.
convinced they did. And here's what I think that those two might, I wonder if those two, when they did go from the Sigma Chi back to King Road, did they go up Queen and take a left down King? If they, and if even if they were walking, that camera at 1122 would see those two. But if they chose the sidewalk path, you know what I'm talking about? There's those
Mm-hmm.
concrete stairs that go up to King Road. You
Yeah.
land right in front of the house. They probably went that direction. There's not a camera right there that we know of. Now, how officers know he attempted to park or turn around in front of King Road, I don't know, unless they saw the car lights doing that on the other camera. They only, because there's no camera that we are aware of that can see the front of that home. But Kaylee's sister said, we see them come home. We see them walk Murphy.
Yep.
How? Where is that camera? Did they walk Murphy down past 1122? The neighbors with that we know there's a camera that saw everything coming and going from that corner,
Mm-hmm.
including the white Elantra. So did they walk down? Because Jack lived at the end of the street. Was
Okay.
Kaylee? Did she
Jack
walk Jack
Showalter?
down there? No, Jack
Jack D.
Decor.
Kaylee's. Okay.
Yeah, he lived right there at the end down there on Queen, right? So
Mm-hmm.
did she walk down there with the dog on purpose because they were trying to call Jack and Jack wasn't answering?
Yep.
I'm gonna go see if his ass is there. I'm gonna go see if his car's there. He ain't answering
Mm-hmm.
to me. Damn it. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna walk that dog down there for an excuse to go look.
Yep.
Did they see those girls do that on that particular camera? I'm dying to know. Now, that's taking what she said with a grain of salt, right? That's a family
Mm-hmm.
member. So
Yeah.
I do got to know that that may not even be a fact, you know.
Right.
But they may be seeing it from the neighboring camera. There may not be anything that sees the front of that home, but I don't know. So I
The
don't,
whole
because
thing is
remember when they kept saying we don't know if anybody has anything on Ethan and Xana, let us know, blah blah blah. Timeline for those two. How then Xana's dad said he had talked to her and they were eating pizza and hanging out at the house. Her and Ethan. I think after that altercation or whatever that was at the frat house, when they left, did they go up those side stairs? Nobody's seen them coming and going. They went onto the house, shut the door, ordered pizza, and just said, to hell with it. We're hanging out here for the rest of the night alone, like we want to be anyway, in their own little world. And no one knew
mm-hmm.
where they were at in that town that night because they were in their damn bedroom the whole time.
Right.
They weren't seen out and about on the cameras like the other girls because they weren't out and about. They were at home eating pizza. Is
Right.
that such a hard comprehension on a Saturday night, or was it whatever night it was? You know what I mean? It's to me, it
Yeah.
wasn't. I was like, you know what? A fighting
No.
occurred. Maybe they had enough. You're like, screw it. We're
Right.
gonna just go home and hang out by ourselves and just do us. They was probably in there getting done all night long.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
think happened with those two.
and then they were maybe up like watching movies or something. I don't
Hmm.
know, doing something, and then the night got late, and at 4 o'clock she wanted to order DoorDash.
They all said, those friends said that Xana was always ordering DoorDash. It didn't matter what time. If Xana was hungry, Xana was getting DoorDash.
Yeah.
That was just Xana's thing. She always ordered DoorDash. So I don't think it, and if you look at it that way, the DoorDash driver was probably used to going to that location because I got people I'm used to going to their house over and over. I know exactly where I'm going before I ever get there.
Yeah.
No confusion, no King Road, Queen Road, front door, back door. I already know.
Yeah.
And if you're a DoorDash driver, you're not going to get out and walk all around some strange dark house looking for the front door. You're going to set that shit right where you see your front door and they on their own.
Right.
I'm
You're
not
gonna take
walking up
that
in your
picture
dark
and you're gonna
backyard.
send it to them.
Yeah. I'm not walking in your dark backyard. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, no.
How
I
about I
do
sit it
want to
right here in
know
the front?
though, I do want to know whether it's Brian Koberger or not. I do want to know if the DoorDasher saw the killer.
I think they might have saw each other's vehicles, but
In
didn't know it at
passing.
the time.
In passing.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because when you
That's
see if you go by Linda Lane footage and that white sedan comes to the back and he does the crazy, where do I go? What do I do? Do I back up and do it? Go. I think that's because he just passed that DoorDash driver and it startled him. Did he see the driver leaving that property? Did he just pass the car and didn't know where the car actually went or came from? It's like if he
yeah.
passed it, he went, because if he went down, maybe the car was coming out of the house. Because if you look at the timeline on the Linda Lane, 405 or 405 or 6 is the first time we see that car back there. DoorDash was 4-ish. Did he pass the DoorDash as they were exiting the neighborhood and he was entering? That's what I think happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't know that car had just left that residence, indicating someone was still awake in that home.
Right.
And then when you do your driving around, you make sure all the lights are out, everything's good. That's whoever was in that car. I don't know who was in that car, but
Right.
that car was circling its prey, and my guts sank when I saw that video. Because everybody was so concerned about that damn truck and the Dylan and the dog and the shadows and all these people they thought they saw. And I didn't look over there, but like for a second, what the hell? No, what's this car doing over here?
Yeah.
That keeps coming back. And that I just saw dip down behind the building at 408 and the lights go out. They didn't that car didn't park. Those lights went out.
Went out. Yeah.
Exactly. And crept back there and parked. And I don't know who's driving it, but that's the car I'm looking for right there.
Yeah.
I still can't tell you if it's a white Elantra. Jeff H's recreation video makes it look real convincing, but he's just a guy on the YouTube that I know.
But then how did they? And then you got the WSU security guy that reported it or whatever.
What, you mean the one that spotted the car?
That reported Brian's car? Or
yeah,
called
they did
it in or whatever?
Yeah, there was a query done on all the Elantras. And they knew there was some over there. And he was like cruising around and he sees this white Elantra and he calls it in. And then when they looked into who that Elantra belonged to, this is what they claim in the documents, or allegedly from I think it's the hearings. So when I think it might be it's in one of the documents, PCA, I don't remember now, it's so damn many. So when the cop sees the car, they call the car in, they pull the driver's license and the registration, and all they notice is that this driver appears to have bushy eyebrows, like our witness description.
Like,
yeah, so that's what prompted their investigation. Yeah, you can. If I see a white Elantra and I pull a photo, this guy happens to have, don't mean I think he's the guy. I need to investigate to see. And if I don't, I'm not a good cop.
Right.
But I can't pin it on you either. I got to know. So I don't know how the investigation unfolded from that point on.
I will say this. I have questions.
Yeah.
But there is a mountain of evidence against Brian Koberger, but there's still questions. And at this point, there's no way.
It feels like there's holes in the story, or not the story. It feels like there's missing, but I don't know if that's because he purposely did that. See, when this first happened and everybody's like, why would he leave the phone? He's such a criminology major and all these Well, because I'm thinking, well, if I'm that damn smart, I'm taking that phone. There's a reason I took that phone.
Mm-hmm.
Did I leave it somewhere on purpose?
In the sheath. I just can't get over the sheath.
That was an accident. That was never meant to be left there.
No.
If things, so if I'm going to say he's the guy, and if he, and this is a big if, I gotta, I gotta figure out how this person did it and why, and how these things took place. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
in that room and I'm attacking Maddie, Kaylee wakes up, stuff gets real fast, sideways real fast. That sheath gets dropped. Maddie sits up because she just got attacked. Maybe, I don't know. Does she go back down and fall on top of it, and he don't even realize in the frenzy
Right.
that he
And the
forgot that
craziness
thing?
going on.
And then you go downstairs thinking, I got to get the hell out of here. You get down there and you encounter two more. By the time you get back in that car and you get halfway home and you
You
realize you've
ain't
left that sheath, you are coming unglued.
Yep.
Are you going to go back the next morning and decide, should I go in there and get it? Oh, I don't know.
But
See, I don't want to make folks mad. I'm just saying it could happen.
why would you even risk going back to this scene to even find out? Like,
If he did, those phone pings are apparently kind of wonky out there. So they claim he did because of the phone pings.
mm-hmm.
Now they've yet to, show us that or prove it. But a lot of, if you look at it fairly,
But
a
at
lot
that
of these
point,
killers
the
will go
morning
back to the
after
crime scene.
they didn't even have a description of the car yet, the morning
Nothing.
after. So
The cops hadn't been called yet or nothing.
yeah, they
Could
were
you
still
imagine
questioning
if
Dylan.
if you did do that? Well, what if you thought you got everybody in the house and you didn't even know those other girls were there? And you go back and you're looking and you're like, well, I wonder when they're going to figure it out. Wonder when someone's going to realize something happened. I don't know. It's hard to say
Yeah.
because a lot of these criminals will go back to the
Oh
scene.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's not far fetched to think that he wouldn't.
Did. Yeah.
And you can't take away how smart this guy really is.
Oh
And
yeah.
if I put that into play, then I have to believe that he took that phone for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to outsmart the smarts. He's going to do.
Yep.
This guy's not stupid. I think he made a huge mistake with that sheath. I can't
Mm-hmm.
buy into that's touch DNA from the grocery store or planted. I just can't.
I can't either.
Anne's going to
Mm-mm.
have to show me how transfer happened outside of him touching it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like the one case with the guy with the touch DNA on the pulse oximeter. I see clearly how that happened.
Yeah.
That was explained away, and it was actually correct. You got to do the same thing over here. And if he tells
Mm-hmm.
me, well, I went to a knife show and I handled this and that, or I sold one, I need to know the dates of those shows. I need to see the receipt where you sold this knife or who you sold it to.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to know these things,
And
especially
that's
if
the
I'm trying
main
to clear
problem.
you,
That
you
is the
know.
main problem in this case is that there is no weapon.
No.
I think with a weapon, I think case would be closed.
Well,
Maybe.
if you look at the search warrant return from Pennsylvania, there's a couple of knives, right? And 3 of the knives are descriptive. It tells you what kind they are.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, the very first item listed, just says knife.
Hmm.
And then it goes into pocket knife, a Wesson knife, a cutlery knife. I mean, it was descriptive
Yeah.
with the other knives except for that one.
Except for that one.
I don't know why. I don't know what that means.
Right.
I can speculate all day, but I don't know what that means. And there was also an item in that family home that they left but took a picture of and entered into evidence. Was
Yeah.
that some kind of drawing on the wall or a painting on the wall, or what the hell could that be that you didn't take from the home but you took a
Took a
photograph of
picture of, yeah.
and entered it into the search warrant return? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean? How does that How is that evidence against Kohberger? I don't
Yeah.
know. There's so many. I think
I
I
think
think
when
this guy's gonna
trial
surprise a lot of
comes,
people, unfortunately. I don't mean it well, that's the wrong word. I don't even care anymore what people think. I don't know if this guy did or did it, but I'm telling you right now, if he did do it, that's a very bizarre mind and people are gonna be blown away.
mm-hmm.
I feel like they'll be blown away with what he might have had in mind.
Yeah.
And you can't say these people don't exist. By God, Rex Horman, come on. Just because they were
Yep.
hookers don't mean we don't have to care. He was doing it. He was dismembering. He was doing
Mm-hmm.
very horrific things to
Things.
humans,
Yeah.
right? It could have been your daughter. It could have been your sister that he snatched out of
But
the
then
Walmart parking
also,
lot. He chose the people he chose because they were easy to get away with.
yeah. And like just crimes with that we don't have a weapon identified is makes it very hard. Um I don't know if you've ever heard of Robert Wan, the DC lawyer that was killed in like 2004, I
Mm,
think.
Uh, maybe. That's a long
Um
time ago.
yeah. But anyway, he was killed, and when they went to search the Dylan guy's bedroom, they found a knife set, and the knife set was supposed to have three knives in it, and one knife was missing.
Hmm.
And it was that knife that was missing, that they found out was missing, does match the stab wounds on the guy, but the knife was missing, and his mom said, "Oh, I can explain why that knife is missing.
Well, I
That
bet you
knife is
can.
missing." His mom said that that knife is missing because Dylan that I gave Dylan that knife set for Christmas, but that knife was so nice that I wanted to keep it for myself.
Oh,
So where is it? And
okay.
I don't know if she ever came up with it or not, but there's still been no conviction in his case, and there was three other people in the house when he was killed, and
Now,
he
there's
had.
some. Have you ever heard of the channel Forensic Frenzy?
I'm
She's
not.
been around for a minute. She does some Idaho coverage. I've chatted with her here and there on Twitter. She dropped a piece the other day that I haven't had a chance to even speak on yet. And I know she
Mm-hmm.
went on Drunk Turkey and talked about it. And I think she dropped another video this morning that I do want to go look at. But she did an interview with the guy from Garrett Forensics. Is that what it's called? They were like, I don't want to describe it wrong. They were doing things for the Brian Koberger case very early on. They're the ones that said the minute they got a name, they noticed his connection to the victims, that he messaged them, but they did not message back. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
that's true, we'd always heard that he messaged these victims. Um, if they did not message back, that's no known connection. If they had answered the message, would that have been a known connection? I know you and you know me, we connect on social media. Do we have a connection? I think we do. But
I,
what no known connection do we
I
mean
know what you're
personally?
saying. I know what you're
Personally or
saying.
on you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're
It's weird.
saying. Yeah.
And so we only have what she said to go by, of course. I like
And
Ann
you said
Taylor.
what? And
She's a
what's it
damn good
called?
attorney.
What's this
Uh,
lady called?
forensic frenzy. I'm going to reach out to her. She might come on and talk to us about it a little bit. I'm going to look at the replay. I didn't go into the live she did with Drunk Turkey when he talked to her because I was doing our live with Dago. And then I noticed this
Yeah.
morning, I think she dropped another one. And it was something about Forensic Frenzy's channel involvement with the Brian Cover case. I was like, wait a minute, what? I don't even know what
Yeah.
that's about yet. But like I said, I watched it the other day because I have watched a little bit of her stuff, but I watched the interview with that guy because I knew who he was. And
Yeah.
so, we don't know if there's any connections outside of what Ann Taylor was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also know that I've been doing this long enough to know that I can't take everything a defense attorney or a prosecutor says to the bank.
Right.
You know what I mean? It goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And in these cases,
Absolutely.
you got to be super careful because I'm telling you, in Idaho and Delphi, it's happened. Sebastian's, I'm not going to say this because it's a totally different, weird situation. That's a missing child and the parents done all that. But these two criminal cases, it's almost like some creators or channels are fed by prosecution. Some seem to be fed by defense. Whether it's
Right.
true or not, I don't know. I never want to be in a court document. I don't care. Don't use me to feed your narrative. I'm going to make up my own mind,
Right.
and go by my thoughts. And I think people get in a lot of trouble because that appears to happen, but they get mad if
If you don't
you
pick a side.
exactly. You need to pick a side and pick one now. And last night, after 3 people went live about Delphi, somebody went live and they were mad because we were all out there talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had no right. And
Yeah.
it's like, but you will never hear me say Richard Allen is innocent because I don't know that.
And you'll never hear me say he's guilty
Right.
because I don't know that yet.
Exactly. I can't say either way. And how can y'all? You can have your opinion. You've seen no more facts than I have.
Right.
So we're not supposed to have our minds made up before a trial. That's a slap in the face to the judicial system.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we could
And
talk
that's
about
why,
what's in the documents and speculate, was this right or that right? Or I don't, find that dangerous or wrong. And I'm not worried about anything I say contaminating a small jury pool from a town I have no ties to.
right.
And I guarantee you the people who might be a part of a jury pool probably aren't watching Salty Sleuth.
Right.
I doubt they're watching a bunch of YouTube to start with. And if they do,
Correct.
they're gonna get asked about it when they go and be
Yep.
deposed as jurors, during the questionnaires. That will come out, So
But
they're all,
I guess if I was picked as a juror in any of these cases, I can honestly say I could still give Brian Koberger a fair trial.
me too. And people might have a hard time believing that, but it's true.
But
That
it's the honest to
I
God,
could
it's the honest to
absolutely
God
do it.
truth.
Yep.
I understand that I have a huge, um,
Mm-hmm.
opinion about the sheath. I really do. However, if they can explain it, then that's that.
Exactly.
If it's explainable, it's explainable. Anything's
Mm-hmm.
explainable, but it's what you're going to show me
Yeah.
to prove to me yes or no.
And we can lean one way or the other,
Mm-hmm.
but that we should not have our minds completely made up.
Mm-mm.
And
You have to take
I don't want
everything.
to be I don't want to be that creator that's sitting up there telling people this is wrong, this guy is the innocent or guilty.
Right.
No matter what my personal feel, you're going to hear me say 50-50, or I might lean, but I don't
Because
know.
I literally
That's
at
what
this
you're going to hear
point,
me say.
at this point, I don't have an opinion. I don't know what to think anymore.
Exactly.
And it's
That's where
been
I'm
like
at with
that.
Delphi. I
Delphi,
don't know what to
Idaho.
think.
I don't know
Yeah.
what to think. Now there's
Yeah.
other cases that I do know what to think, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? But
Right. Yeah.
like Ellen, just
I think that
so many
with
things don't make sense.
I'd call it the Idaho
But
4 effect,
my
because
question in with
Mhm.
Ellen's case is, I know she didn't kill herself. Okay, I know
No,
that.
exactly.
But who did?
Right. And why would y'all, who the hell was your coroner or your autopsy person to see all those bizarre stab wounds and you chalk it up to a suicide? That's odd. Especially when others that do this same line of work are like, they see it and they're like, huh?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, you hope that every person involved in anything like that is
Smart enough
doing their
to,
job, educated and doing their job right, and can tell, well,
yeah,
this angle, if I know that the angle absolutely matters in a gunshot wound, right?
Yep.
You can tell me where that gun was at when it fired into that person just from your measurements.
Mhm.
So you can't, I see that picture where all them knives were in that poor woman. In no way she did all that to herself. And
No.
that's the kind of, that's where you go, yeah, law
Mm.
enforcement can be great, but they can also have their what's going on here moments,
Mhm.
and it's okay. When I talk about things in Florida and the way it is now, it wasn't always like this. It
Right.
wasn't always good. Our sunshine laws weren't always the best. Our DCF child protection services was in shambles. Kids were dying at the hands of DCF who were not checking on them. And when it happened one too many times in Florida, the citizens got pissed off. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, no more of this. What's going on? Because a majority of them don't deal with that system, right?
Right.
They're good parents. They're not neglecting. They're not mistreating. They're not abusing. None of that's going on. They have no idea how bad that system is. So they start hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And once they started hearing about it, they're like, wait a minute, bring me that baby if you can't take care of it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't let them die at the hands of the state who we just gave them to protect.
Right.
You know, and so that was a lot of pushback in Florida, and they overhauled the entire system. The
Yeah.
pilot program came out in my county, and they weren't playing.
Yeah.
You know, and now the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is one of the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
We see that in the Stephon Stearns investigation.
Yeah.
Our discovery laws are amazing.
Well, and what
Look at
about
all the stuff I've been able to get on Stearns' case
didn't
pre-trial.
didn't Tristan Bailey happen in Florida too?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that again, but I think.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just and if you look at Indiana, where Delphi is, they have some of the craziest ways of doing things on the
Mm-hmm.
books.
Yeah.
Just their judicial system is a little wonky and a little different than a lot of places.
Yeah.
So you have to, you know, all of that is, you know, and sometimes it just takes pushback. If you've got a crappy law enforcement agency in your area and people are aware of it, we had that problem here. A
And you
lot of
need to
a
make
lot
a
of Florida sheriffs are really great, and people love a lot of the Florida sheriff. But we've had some bad ones.
Yeah.
We had one for 10 years that we just no longer could take serious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's gone now, thank goodness. And we got a new guy in town, and this guy's making a difference, and we see
Good.
it. You know, but you get tired that if you go 10 years as a sheriff and your community is only going downhill,
You got a problem.
it might be time for you to go, buddy.
Yeah.
What are you doing out there in them streets? You helping them out? Because
Yeah.
that's what we all think he was doing anyway. And
Good.
there's stuff
Are
to can back
you
that up.
are you close to Mom?
No, she's in Central Florida, and I'm over here in Northwest. I'm near the Alabama line on the Northwest
Okay.
Florida
Okay.
Panhandle, over in the Gulf
Okay.
Coast region. So
Okay.
my part of Florida is nothing like the rest of Florida.
Right.
We
Right.
don't have native palm trees down here. We are
Right.
heavily wooded. We got rivers, you know, just like the rest of Florida. But we don't get
Yeah.
native palm trees down here. We are the redneck Riviera, people call it. You know, we don't have that big hustle and bustle like Central Florida
Yeah.
has. It's a whole different beast down here.
Yeah.
In the Panhandle is where I'm at.
Is it not Pensacola's in the Panhandle, right?
I'm right outside of Pensacola.
Okay, yeah, because that's where
Mhm.
my friend was in the Air Force, and she was stationed
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah, we have
So
a huge military presence around here. I've
yeah,
got bases everywhere I look. So
yeah,
we're very, very used to it. Yeah, but that's where I'm on that end. I'm very, very
yeah.
close to Pensacola. That's where I grew up. That was my hometown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But yeah, it just I think it's good that I think Florida because so many things happen in Florida. I mean,
yeah.
Christina Randall, she's in Florida too, and she gets a lot of cases for her channel in Florida. And, I think it's good that that state is making an example out of what law enforcement should be, because there's a lot of things that happen there, and I think Texas needs to follow. I think there's a lot
And
of states that need to follow suit.
especially with our new law that's going to be putting Stearns to the death penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, he's the first one. We've already had one
Mhm.
they wanted to do, but he ended up with a plea bargain. But I do know that they were going to take it to the Supreme Court and try to challenge it and all that, and that may happen with the Stearns case eventually. But
Yeah.
Florida don't care. They already know the
So
Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional, but Florida's like, we don't care. It's
so
our constitution
do
here.
they does Florida Okay, and just kind of educate me a little bit here. The difference between first degree murder and capital murder.
Well, I think the capital murder charge is what's going to get you the death penalty, and you've got to have
Okay.
extenuating circumstances, is from my
Okay.
understanding of the law. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know it's a little bit different, I think, from state to state,
Okay.
but that's what qualifies it as a death penalty
It's a
case at
death
that
penalty
point. And
case. Okay.
yeah, hmm
If your
and like,
state if your state has a death penalty, in which most
yes,
do, don't they?
most do, I believe. Florida is. I've been here 57 years. I've never not known the death penalty. Right,
Okay.
for years, I growing up, it not like it's talked about at the dinner table, but you just knew it. You heard it on the news. You heard your parents
Mhm.
talk, whatever, and you think it's the way things are, and then you grow up and you realize, oh, not every state does
Not
this, and it's
right.
controversial. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with it because I feel like if you
Have a
did a
case
bad
that
enough crime, that's between you and God in the end, but that's not my decision. I'm not
right.
going to be a death penalty freedom fighter kind of person.
Right.
That's not my fight. But yeah, so I've never known a life in
Anything
Florida without the
different.
death
Yeah.
penalty. Yeah. Yeah, and I know people have very mixed views about it, but I don't.
But
It
doesn't
doesn't bother
isn't
me.
it isn't it so it's weird because doesn't Washington not have the death penalty but Idaho does?
I believe so. Idaho
Which is
does, but I don't.
which
I'm
makes it
not
weird to me that you would go in
to a death
Koberger's
penalty
case
state.
to why would you go to a death penalty state,
Well, if you weren't planning on leaving your sheath, you might not have got caught.
right?
Because I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for that sheath, I don't think they would have caught Brian
Mm-mm.
Koberger.
Nope. Nope.
Because you
I
can't.
mean that
Yeah,
was
I see
obviously the
that. Yeah,
smoking gun.
right. Because we see that white sedan, but we don't know whose car that is or who's in it. I see no tag. I can't see the person in
I
that car.
That's my only thing with this whole case is like
You know.
I can
Now the
sit there
piece.
and think Brian Koberger, but I also know that there's two other male unmatched or un
Well,
whatever.
the thing about those is Anne's not talked about him again.
Mm-mm.
Why?
Nope.
Was she satisfied with some results she was shown?
Yeah,
So
and
we have to really watch what Anne files, because she's telling us where they're going. She
mm-hmm.
already said in court, my suppressions on the sheath are coming. I can't wait for that fight. Now, Ann Taylor
So
was just handed a brand new client. He's a
yep.
really bad guy
Mm-hmm.
facing the death penalty. She's one of the 13 Idaho attorneys
That
that can
can
handle a
represent him.
DP. Yeah, the others
Mm-hmm.
are just co-counsel qualified. So she was just handed another big death penalty case. What is she going to do in that guy's case? Or are y'all going
Yeah.
to say the same? Are we going to run over there and say he's innocent, or I right out the gate, or what are we going to do here?
Yeah.
But she's very good at her job. She's going to bring the
I
legal
have to
arguments
say
that are needed.
I think she's doing a good job. I mean,
I think she is. She knows the only thing in these 400, there's not 400 witnesses. The only witnesses to this crime are experts
yep.
who can battle who over phone pings and car cameras and
Mm-hmm.
triangulation and circulation and all the things,
Mm-hmm.
drive times and blah, blah, blahs and all that. Then
Yeah.
there's the chief. How's she going to attack that? Is it a chain of custody type deal? Is it who discovered it first? Where did it cut? All these things. Who knows? I
Yeah.
don't know what I can't imagine how she's going to fight that yet, but I'm waiting to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching those court documents and I ain't seen nothing yet. They're like she never filed. When people made a big deal about the house, Anne
She's
Anne had a protective order to save that house, but when it expired, Anne didn't
she
file
didn't
anything new to keep
nope.
that house. It's not serving her client to keep it.
Mm-mm.
It's not going to make a difference. What did Dylan see? A guy with bushy eyebrows. We already know that.
Right.
Could she have seen more if it was light? Well, Ann Taylor's like, I hope not.
Right.
All she needed to see was them bushy eyebrows. We're good.
Yeah.
So it was dark. She didn't see shit.
Yeah.
She heard a bunch of noises. That house
Yeah.
is not going to prove to me whether he did that or not. with the
No.
Pharaoh scans that are going to come into play. Pharaoh scans were heavily used in Maddie Soto's case. People
Mhm.
missed that with Idaho because they want to get so enraged about a house coming down. They didn't want to take the time to learn about the technology that was replacing it.
Right.
And I tried to tell them, if you look at this history, they're trying to get away from taking jurors to
The
locations,
crime
and
scenes,
they're
yeah.
moving into these Pharaoh scans and things of that nature.
Which
And
is fine, I think.
yeah, a friend and I went and deep dove these Pharaoh scans and watched videos on what all they can do
Capable.
and how realistic it is and all the things. And it's like, why is everybody so worried?
Yeah.
But you couldn't talk about that because it was just, we want to scream and shout.
Because it doesn't
And
fit their narrative.
I can't scream and shout about a house that I know is not going to help Brian Koberger.
Oh, hold on one second. We have someone coming to join us.
Uh-oh. Hey.
Hello, Dago.
Hello.
How are
We
you?
over here having a conversation by ourselves, I think.
Hold on.
I haven't looked at chat in a minute. I'm outside just talking away to JC.
I've been looking. There hasn't been anything in chat, but I did just see Dago pop up. So
This could almost have been a podcast, JC. We were doing really good. She keeps me calm, Dago. I get worked up easy. I'll be off the ledge, like, pull me back in.
But yeah, like, I mean, because I don't think that, I don't know. I mean, as nice as it would be to actually go physically see something, if you
Yeah.
don't have to, then, you know.
How often do they really take jurors to crime scenes? They've done it.
I guess
They do it. Yeah, I
Is
mean,
the only one that I've really actually known of that happening.
yeah, I
But
think
I'm
the
sure it
first
happens
time
more
it
often.
happened, I got a video somewhere, and I remember when this happened. I want to say it was early 80s. It was like one of the first times a jury went to a crime scene. And it was actually like a mountainside where instead of the person tripping and falling, they were literally pushed by the spouse or whatever kind of story. I can't I honestly don't remember how it went down. But that was like one of the first times it was a big deal on the national news that this
Like the
jury's going
woman
to the
pushing her
scene.
husband off the cliff.
It wasn't that particular case. It was
But it was
older than that. Yeah, it was
one like
something
it though.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to that. And that was so many years ago. People got very used to the jurors going to the scenes, and now we found a way to bring the scene to you versus having to go to
Yeah.
it. So I'm willing to let progress happen. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
I
Oh,
don't fight
yeah.
it. You're fighting a losing battle if you do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to give myself a headache over some damn technology. Bring it on if you got it.
Right.
Sorry about that. My
You're
phone rang.
good.
Right when I jumped in here, my phone rang, and I saw the link. I thought that was put in on purpose. So if it wasn't, I'm sorry for intruding.
No, totally.
No, you're good. You're good. It's like I was just telling her, it was almost like a podcast we were doing because we're just like having a casual conversation.
I didn't even know you had a channel, JC. I'm so sorry, or I'd have been here before.
Well, I have not been active for a long time because I haven't been able to figure this out. Well, first off, I didn't have access to a laptop or iPad. So I got my new iPad, and then
Okay.
it's taken me a long time to figure out how to do the whole StreamYard thing on my laptop, on my iPad. So I haven't
Gotcha.
been active in like 4 or 5 months maybe, but
No worries. No worries.
yeah, but I'm here now because Salty helped me out and
Well, I'll start sharing it out then when I get
everything.
a chance to,
So
for sure. I like the name,
yeah.
Criminal Breaking Point. That's pretty awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
I changed it. It's Crime Time 101 now.
Okay, well, both names are awesome. I like them
Yeah.
both.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. I always like seeing you guys
I'm
put
hoping.
yourselves out there to do this. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
she's got great insight. She's a good conversationalist. I always enjoy a good conversation with JC.
I was going to be like minimal on my channel until after September. But then my vehicle got taken away from me,
Hmm.
and and I had to get a new one, so I can't do my pageant anymore like I was going to. So I can do this a little bit more, um, and anything that I get from the channel will be less time that I have to be at work overtime
There you go.
to
Yeah.
pay for my new vehicle.
There
Yeah,
you
good
go.
luck with that.
So hopefully
Absolutely.
I wasn't going to be able to be on, I was going to, start going really hard for the pageant, stuff, and that was going to take some time. But now that the pageant's not happening, because of the car, this can happen a little bit more. So,
I gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
What were you
anyways, but
guys, before I interrupted, what were you guys talking about?
We
little
were talking a little
hodgepodge.
bit about Delphi and Idaho, kind of
Oh, okay.
a
Well,
little bit about both, just kicking ideas to each other and
Ellen
how
Greenberg's
this.
finally getting an investigation after 13 years or something like that.
Yeah, I was telling her you were just discussing that in your live right before I jumped over to hers.
mm-hmm.
That's just crazy.
I'll never understand how anybody ever could look at that and say that that was suicide. That makes
I
no sense
can't
to me.
either. That's bizarre.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about.
I I listened to Nancy Grace's entire session on it last night at work, and I was just it was bizarre to me. And it
Mm-hmm.
always has been. I followed it from pretty much the get go. Well, I don't know if it was the get go, but I know the first time I heard it would have had to have been on Kendall Ray's,
Yeah.
and because she was the very first YouTuber that I watched, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my very first ones that I listened to was from her, and that was one of the first ones. Before her, I just did a lot of because she was the first YouTuber that I actually found. I actually listened to a lot of Crime Watch Daily with Chris Hansen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
And
that's interesting because I'll be covering tonight when I do my show. It's going to be what I was going to do. I felt guilty, to be honest with you, Salty. I really did. That's
Mhm.
I to explain it the best way. I felt guilty. I was getting ready to set this up this morning because we talked last night. I was going to go and cover the Keegan Klein and Daniel Nations and stuff like that stuff this morning on Adult, and I'm like, I don't want to do this without her. That's not right. I just feel bad and it seems wrong to me. So I just what can I do instead and save that for tonight when she's available? So I did that thing on Idaho and Ellen, and I said, okay, and then we'll just save this for tonight when you are available.
Yeah.
So there we go. It worked.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
But
I've already fed the kid dinner and everything, and I actually just pulled a video up of it's the Indie Archive, Monon High Bridge. I don't think we'll get in trouble for playing it, but we could stop and talk about it because I want to give people a good look at the bridge. So I've been trying to find. I've got
Yeah.
some good videos. I know you do as well, but that drone footage is really good, and I just wanted to look at that. But I'm through with dinner here and everything around here. I'm about to get all this wound down around here, and get with you about what time you wanted to do this later.
I'm waiting on my wife to come home from work still. She got where she had to work over tonight. But she's gonna be going to bed pretty soon thereafter that, and probably about 9 at the latest, I think.
That's fine. It'd be 8 my time.
Yeah, so I figured that would be good. It won't be super late and it won't be too early. So
Yeah.
and I'm ready to lay it out some more. There's probably gonna be a few of these.
Yeah, we'll just go live from your show, from your stream. Instead of, I don't want to. I'm not going to set one up tonight and do it that way. I'll just come into yours and come up that way, and I'll send you the link, a couple of links for some footage of the bridge. And I know you got the Keegan Klein stuff, so we'll be set.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
And
And
the
then
other stuff.
sounds like a plan. I see some of you guys in here, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get your link, JC, to have for this because I'll start sharing your link all the time too. That way you can get a little.
Yeah, I'm hoping I need to make a schedule of what I want to cover because and I was going to talk to you guys about this. How do you guys go about deciding what to talk about? Because there's
You want to know the truth with me? Truthfully, I I think about things all the time. Like, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that. But sometimes, if it's something that we've already talked about, and I see like there's an update that popped up, I automatically go to that because everybody wants it. My stuff comes from a lot of times emails that I get from people asking me, "Are you going
Yeah.
to cover this? Will you cover that? Can you cover this, please?" Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
like lately, because I've been itching, and I mean itching, to talk about Delphi for a while, and we've been trying to get together, her and I, to do it, and it's been like, when you know that your parents promised you that they're going to buy you that new toy when they get paid,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and you're waiting and waiting and waiting in anticipation, and it's like finally you're just like, you go
I
buy it
give up.
yourself type thing. Yeah. I think we're both in that aspect because we both wanted to talk about Delphi in a lot of ways, and it got brought up a few times. It was just kind of like, piss on it, let's do it. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
we look at multiple cases at a time,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we I always, the ones that are happening now, of course, and we take a look at ones that,
It's so hard to
maybe
keep up with everything.
it can be, that I literally will follow 5 at a time, but they're not all, but they all have different stages, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
These are
So
your
that helps, yeah.
I just write, here's what I do, and I just write like names down of
Mhm.
people, and I hate you guys. It's so sad to have to add names to the list. It's just like,
It is, but
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I've
can
got
get overwhelmed
you
real easy if you're
one
not
of the
careful.
cases that I want to talk about really bad is AJ Armstrong. Um
I don't think I'm
uh
familiar.
I'm not
the
either.
the tech so his dad was a professional football player. Um, Antonio Antonio Armstrong was a football player for the Houston Texans, maybe, I
Hmm.
believe. And his son was 16 when this happened, and mom and dad got killed in bed. And they tried this kid when he was maybe 17 and didn't acquit him, but it was I'm assuming it was a hung jury. So
So he.
they retried him, hung jury. Okay,
Hmm.
so they tried him for a third time until they
Wait,
finally got what they wanted.
that's not double jeopardy?
I don't
I
think that you.
I think that
I
there
don't think
was
it's double jeopardy when it's a hung jury. When it's a
That
hung jury, like with
I
Karen
think
Reed, they're allowed
right,
to
right,
retry.
I
right. Gotcha.
think, but they went like digging through stuff, and I I have a problem with it. Maybe you guys don't, but I have a problem with it. But between the 2 years between the second and the third trial, I think he got married, he had a baby, like all this stuff, and now I just think that they wanted what they wanted and they flipped it any way they could to get it. And um
Does it point at anybody else as being possible suspect, or?
they this is the thing. He has a brother, and the brother to me is really suspicious. The sister and his grandma is like completely 100% he did not do it.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, if you wanted, I mean, if you wanted to look into that, Dago, I think you'd be interested in it. I mean,
I'm
um
interested in all of them, but yeah, I just
yeah,
never heard of that one.
I
Where
just
did it?
think that it's awful that they tried this kid, literally this kid, 3 times.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
they said if they would have gotten, if they would have came back with a not guilty or, hung jury or whatever, that they would not have tried him the fourth time. But who knows? I don't think they should have tried him the third time, but
So where are they at with it now?
he's in jail.
Oh, he was found guilty the
Yeah,
third time.
the third time.
What was the charge that they found him on?
Um, not,
Capital or not? Was it capital? Was it murder two, murder one,
um, I want to
premeditated?
say murder one because I don't, maybe murder two, but
Okay.
it, if you look into it, it's just crazy. I
Where did it
mean,
Where did it happen at?
in Texas,
Oh, okay. Got you. Huh.
San
Yeah.
Antonio or
I will.
Houston or somewhere.
I'll definitely take a look at it then. I just don't know how did we never hear about it? That's weird.
It was in 20. Do I want to say 16 or
Oh, okay.
it's an old case, but
Well,
yeah.
that's fine. I've been doing cold cases lately too that are,
Yeah.
older, I should say. But
I
I'm
mean,
trying to
I just feel bad for the kid. Like
I
they
get it.
when he was arrested, okay? They put like a name tag on him,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what they did. They went back through all the evidence, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they took the name tag off of his shirt, okay? And they found a blood stain. The name tag that they put on was covering up. But this shirt had also been in with a lot of other evidence that could have cross contaminated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what they called the smoking gun in the third trial, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot. I'm looking at it now. There's a lot on it, so I will definitely cover this because that's crazy.
And this
Especially
is a kid.
having 3 hung juries and then they finally or 2 hung juries and then they finally get him. Something's not right because the both 2 juries were not comfortable with this.
Right?
Something's off somewhere. Obviously, I just like to know if there was evidence of any other. Well, you said the brother possibly.
The brother's very suspicious to me. They never once questioned the brother. Well, I can't say that. I don't know that. But
Did
to
he live in
me,
Did he live
to
in the house
me,
with him?
I'm not sure, but I know the sister did, and the sister is adamant, and the grandma is adamant.
I just figured out who his dad was. Antonio Armstrong. I know exactly
Yeah.
who it is now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Bingo. Sorry. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to get weird. Yeah, I wasn't clicking for a minute but I get it now. Sorry, guys. I
Yeah.
don't need to talk about everything.
Was he the Houston? He was a Houston Texan.
Houston Texan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
he played for Texas
Somebody
A&M.
else too.
He went to Texas A&M. He played for the Texans and he played for another the Vikings. I think Minnesota is where I think he was at too.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I know exactly who he is, but I don't know the case. I know the dad.
I'll look into it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll definitely look into this for sure. Again, sorry, I
Yeah.
don't mean to talk so much. Absolutely, but yeah, I've been trying to bring the true crime back to true crime,
Mm-hmm.
at least with my channel. That's why I've been doing all these variations of cases. And like Salty said, we do look at a lot of cases at one time. I got a notebook. I have 3 notebooks over here to the right of me. I have the one in front of me, and this one here is my main one that I write different names and cases and stuff down in.
Yeah.
And I'll look at it every day because people will throw things in chat and say, "Hey, did you hear about this? Did you see that?" Or people like you or Andy or Salty will drop something in a Discord and say, "Look at this, look at that. What about this?" Well, you know what I mean? And I'll just write it down, and then
it
when I
goes
get
on the
it,
back burner.
right? And I try. There, like I said before, none of us that are doing this are ever going to be without content. If we do
That's
what
the
we're supposed to
thing.
be
We are not. Unfortunately, we are not ever going to be lacking content.
right. And I've even been lacking because I haven't covered as many of the missing cases that I've been trying to put out because I've been going back to doing these standard cases.
Yeah.
It's hard to balance a lot of it like
It
one,
is.
you know what I mean? So
The old cases from the new cases from the cold cases. Like
yeah.
So speaking of that, do you know a Voice for the Voiceless?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So apparently there's this case that I'm familiar with is Amy Roe Bechtel that went missing in Wyoming in 1997. Okay. And
What is her last name?
Bechtel, Bechtel, Amy Roe, Amy AMYWROE.
Oh, I know the last name, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
anyway, she said that she's from Wyoming, and she works with the, I don't know, like the investigator on the case or whatever. She said that they still get they have gotten tips on that as early as last month. And this
Mm,
is a 27-year-old case.
I see that. Wow. Okay.
And this is in my basically my mom's hometown, where my dad and my family live now. My dad and my brother live there. My grandma still lives there.
Mm-hmm.
Um my parents moved there in 2005. And my brother lives there, and my mom and dad moved there in 05, and my dad still lives there, and yeah, it's crazy.
This is I know this one. This is
Yeah,
I think they thought that she may have been killed by the Great Basin Killer.
killer. Yep.
Okay, I know this one. Yeah.
Yep.
This is an older one.
Sorry, I had to walk away for a second, guys. I
That's
didn't mean
okay.
to.
Her to me, a lot of people think that her husband still did it, but to me, he has a pretty tight alibi, because his best friend and him went hunting that day, and he was with him all day.
Mm,
And
that's
his
that
and
that
his
yeah. I
and his
see.
best friend completely vouched for him. I mean,
Which you would no matter what. So yes.
I mean,
Unless the best friend helped.
unless
Of
he
Yeah.
was completely in on it too, but
it happens. It definitely happens.
Oh, it
what a
happens. You can't never say never in this genre. I mean, come on.
no,
It's
you
true
can't.
crime, and you
But
need to expect the unexpected and the
you know,
bizarre, and
yeah,
be shocked by some of the things, like, whoa, I never saw that coming, and
yeah.
you just never know when you're dealing with
Not
criminals.
sure if they have like phone ping or anything, because it was, back in 1997, so
Right.
some of us might not have even been born yet, but I mean, I was, but
Yeah,
some others might not have been.
you're right. There's a lot that weren't.
But but like Voices said, like it's all theory. It's all theory, because
Mhm.
Hmm.
they do, law enforcement does have two pretty big theories, but they're all just theories until we find she's never been found. So how do we know?
Oh, I
Mhm.
feel that this girl here, our local girl, Tiffany's 11 years now. We have no clue what
That's the
happened
Yeah.
to her, where
that's
she
right.
went. The only person that might have known that they cleared is deceased.
What was her last name again?
Tiffany Daniels.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying to ask you
Daniels.
about that for weeks now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm gonna run a show on her here soon, only because there is a Oxygen, I think it was Oxygen, her mom did special about Tiffany's case. And like I said, after I've talked to her mom the way I have, and someone very close to the case, law
Mhm.
enforcement doesn't share a lot with these families, unfortunately. And I will
Right.
also say this: in this particular case, this mother has been reached out to online privately by people who claimed over the years they know where her daughter is, they know what happened, but guess what it's going to take to get the information? Money. She's gotten more than one of those, and she's gotten somebody arrested because of it. And that happened right here in Pensacola, Florida.
What is wrong with
Over
you?
missing. I know. Exactly. They would, that Dago, they were emailing her and reaching out to Facebook Messenger saying things you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
And
I get it.
she got to the point where she said her daughter had like a hang on, let me walk outside. These kids don't hear this part. Okay, hang on. She said it got so bad, and I think she says this in the special, that her daughter had like an earlobe little disfigurement or something, something small.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time somebody reached out and told her, well, I got this and that. And she says, well, send me her ear. And she said her husband's like, what
Oh
did
my
you just
god.
say? She's like, I'm tired of it. Prove it. Prove you got my daughter.
Thank you.
Before
Right.
I entertain your bullshit anymore, you prove you got my daughter,
Yeah.
And they can't, because it's all bullshit. And that's sad. When I
Mhm.
found out that goes on in these cases, and then I realized it happens in a lot of the missing persons cases, it's like, man, come on, people.
It just
What?
happened. It's happened in
people are
Maura Murray's case. It's happened in Crystal Rogers' case.
Yep.
Um,
I
it,
mean,
it, it's disgusting. It makes me nuts.
it's crazy how people want to say, well, there's no crazies in these cases. Yeah, they are. Y'all
Full
don't
of
got to look far, and they're just got a new method now. It's called a device in their hand.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you can't, you don't want to think the worst of every person, but not every person you run across on the YouTube streets is going to have a good intention or care either way. They're
right.
just out here to have fun and run their mouth. And
Crystal
sometimes,
Crystal's been found, correct?
no, we
Oh,
have no
she has
body.
not.
Nope.
No,
We
there's
still have
3
no body.
arrested. We just kind of went over a prelim Dago did the other day on Crystal. There's 3 arrests, her ex-boyfriend, and a father and
Brooks.
son duo. Yeah, Brooks is in jail, and then you got Stephen James, or whatever their names are, and the Lawsons, they're in jail. Joseph, yeah. But Crystal's never been found.
Nope.
They've never recovered her
I
body
didn't
yet.
think I heard of that, but I was like, sometimes I question. I'm like, I don't think I heard of them being found, but maybe they have. I don't know.
Nothing
Yeah,
at all.
well, there's so many, that we
There's
talk
so
about.
many that
It's
are
hard to
unfound.
remember sometimes. But yeah, we still don't know where Crystal is.
I mean,
They're trying him.
Even Harmony hasn't been found, but
No,
I
maybe
don't
that
think Harmony
asshole.
will be found. She's
He's not going to tell
everywhere.
anybody. Mm-mm. He's
well,
Nope.
never going to tell what he did with that
no,
child.
she's in the
And I
water.
think the girlfriend knows exactly where he put that baby.
I
Yep.
agree with you too on that. Absolutely.
I don't
she
know if
out of
he even
jail?
remembers where he put her
Right?
because she was in
True.
pieces. Not to be too
No,
graphic,
he did.
but
Girl, what he
yeah.
did to her in that bathroom just to get her in
I
that
know.
suitcase was
I know.
appalling. Fucking appalling. You know what I
Yeah.
And
mean?
then
And
to
it's like, how
carry
do you
her
do
around
that?
in a tote bag for months.
So did,
For
and
months.
yeah, and the girlfriend
Oh,
did too. She's
yeah.
pushing it down the street in the baby stroller with the babies. I'm like, what in the
Yeah.
world is wrong with y'all?
And she got out. She got out, didn't she?
Yes,
She
she's
did. She
already
got a
out.
sweetheart deal. Yeah, she
And
got a
does she
sweetheart
have
deal.
does she have her kids back?
No,
kids?
Oh,
No.
no, she
I
don't got her
sure as hell
kids.
hope not. Oh my
No,
god.
she does not have her kids.
I heard that there was a chance that she might have got him back or
I
something.
think they were with her family, her mother, but she may have if she could comply with the welfare or whatever their child protective services is, and that state failed Harmony so bad. Do I trust them to give that bitch
Mhm.
them babies? No, ma'am, you're not getting these babies.
Right.
Yes, they did. That
Nope. You let your dead stepdaughter lay near these babies.
Mm-hmm.
You let Adam blame that little girl for
Yeah.
beating one of those babies. Come the fuck on.
Yeah.
You two need to go. She needed to be right there with Adam,
Yeah.
handcuffed together. Y'all go make love and do all the stupid little
In
things
the
you want
jail
to do.
cell.
Yeah, go on with yourselves.
Yeah.
Give each other the herpes and kill each other or whatever. I don't know.
those
STDs.
those two make me sick. They give me like same with Letitia. You know what I mean? Those
Oh,
type
I
of
know.
Those 2 cases just give me they hit me a different way. I mean,
Yeah.
I was warned before I walked into Harmony's case that it was going to be a
Of
lot.
course. Yeah.
It was
And
rough.
It was very
I
I
didn't
watched that
cover that one
trial.
for a reason.
I didn't talk a
That's-
lot about the trial, but I watched it and it was rough. I wasn't going live at that time.
And to
But
me,
if I had
I
been, I
was
would have
following
covered
it
it.
'cause
I
it's near
mean,
me.
yeah.
what's that, Andy?
Her mother is in my state, like Harmony's birth mother
Crystal?
Yeah.
is in my state. So like it was a fail for Child Protective Services in New Hampshire and
In multiple
Massachusetts.
states.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
You're
to
right.
the point where they were just like each state was like, oh, she's in the other one, she's fine.
Well,
It's
and every
their
time
thing.
Crystal reached out and tried to tell them I can't find her, then she was unheard. She went unheard.
Mhm.
And this, when I
She was
reviewed,
missing for 2 freaking years.
yeah, and only because and Crystal, did they treat her that way because she didn't have custody of her daughter and he did?
Probably.
Because in Delphi, when you listen to certain things over there that were said by law enforcement about the situation, it's like, what are y'all? When are we going to stop it with all this stuff? Not believing the mothers of these children just because they didn't live in the home. You know how many fathers don't live in the home but may know something? Look at Lori Vallow's ex-husband.
Right.
He absolutely tried to tell y'all something was wrong with that lady and his kids were in danger and he went unheard. And then he was shot and killed. And now here we are. Those kids are dead and gone.
The
A lot of
when are we
Valentine
people
getting,
Fellow,
you
yeah,
know,
ignored.
right?
huh?
Harmony's mother, I think, was also ignored because she was an addict, but like
Yep,
so was the
Yeah,
father.
so
that's what
was
I was
he.
just about to
But
say.
Crystal got her
Yeah,
shit together, you know.
right. And
Crystal
then
had
she
other
was trying to get
children.
Harmony back. She wanted to get her
Yes.
baby back, and when she
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
look for her, they were like, I don't know. We
But
don't know
I
where
don't
she
have
she
any
is.
also, but
problem with a man or a
Crystal,
woman going through the system and getting themselves clean and getting their babies back.
Exactly.
if that
But I think
if they're
that's
gonna
why
do
they
right.
didn't listen to her. I think
I
that's
give a
Yeah.
why
lot of
no one
props
paid
to Crystal
attention.
though, because she did the right thing by saying that Harmony, didn't she have a chance to get Harmony back, but said no because I can't afford it, or
And she thought, I think that was
she
something to
thought
do with
that
that.
Adam could
And
take
Adam
better
was
care
doing
of her
good.
than,
Yeah, Adam was
yeah,
appeared to be doing good with her at that
and
point in time.
at that
I don't
point in
know
time, yeah.
if he got back on drugs and that triggered the spiraling and her,
I think the
because
girlfriend
allegedly
got
her bathroom accidents in the car were his triggers, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I can totally see that fucking pissed off young dad on drugs is that's how that shit rolls.
But why
You
do you
see
Should
it
have
do
all,
it
you
just
in the
see
given
it
her
all
first
the
back to
time.
the
place?
mother
I mean,
when they became homeless. The mother should have gotten custody.
exactly.
If he'd have came clean and said that's what happened, but they hid
Yeah,
from the law. They hid
right.
it.
Yeah, they
When
were
her
on the
mother
run.
kicked them out, they absolutely hid that child and hid that they were even homeless. He was ignoring Crystal's call outs from the
Yep.
Facebook Messenger, everything. He blocked
It
her,
just makes
he
me
shut
so
her
mad.
down.
It makes me
Why
so
would you
mad
do that?
because he clearly didn't want her.
Nope.
Exactly.
He did
Was
not
it
want
just
her
to get
and
back at
had said
her? I
before
mean,
that, yeah. And he had said before that he hated her because she reminded him of her mother.
of her
Mhm.
mother. Hmm.
So he
So
hated
why
her.
would
He
you want?
despised her. So
Wouldn't it
why take her in the first place? I'm
exactly?
sure there's a family that would have been happy to take her in.
Just
I
to
think
hurt her mother,
he was drawing
child
disability on
support.
that child.
Yeah,
Oh
Mm-hmm. It
yeah,
was
that's true.
money. He was
It was
getting
a
like two,
money game.
wasn't he
Whoever
getting like
had custody of her got her
a
money.
1,000 or 2,000 a month or something like that for her?
I don't know if her disability was that
I
much
don't
for a
think it was that
child.
high. I think it was like
No,
600 bucks. I
four
think.
to
600,
six,
yeah.
Yeah,
and for an
six
addict who
hundred
don't want to
dollars a
work,
month is for an addict, though. Yeah.
But it was
Right.
all
exactly.
going
An
towards
addict who
his
don't want to
stuff.
work, that's your only fucking income is that baby girl.
Yep.
And people hide deceased people all the time only because they want to continue to get that check coming in the mail.
Yep.
It's happened even with senior citizens.
I had
Mm-hmm.
a case here that I had to when I was still working with fire service where this guy's mother, he was 40-some years old. His mother died. He never reported it. He never called anybody because he wanted to keep getting
Yeah.
her Social
Shit,
Security
Lori
check.
Vallow did it with
Pretty
JJ.
much.
I mean, with Ty Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Lee
Pretty
was
much.
getting Ty Lee's dad passed away, right? So
Mhm.
Ty Lee was getting the or not the disability, but the Social Security or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when she went missing and then was already gone, Lori continued to receive all that money.
Mm-hmm.
She never reported her child missing.
To
Nothing was
me,
ever,
Letitia and Lori are in a league of their own.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
definitely,
definitely.
And,
definitely.
like I've said several times, the thing that
Mhm.
bothers me
Yeah.
about Letitia the most is that she used to be a teacher.
Yeah, that is scary, isn't
It
it?
is absolutely just, and maybe it's
That woman had no emotion. I'm sorry, none.
nope.
That was
But
not
Tisha was
it,
crazy as hell.
pure
at
evil.
least these teenagers are having some. I give so many props to the teenagers. Like, wasn't her name Harley?
Harley was her daughter.
Her daughter that testified against her, and then
Yeah,
like in the Kansas mom's case, wasn't the 16-year-old the one that called the cops?
Yep. They asked her
Yeah,
to clean
Yes.
out the car and
yeah,
everything because there was blood in the car or
and she
something.
Yes.
called
And
and she
instead,
called the
she called the
cops.
cops.
Yeah.
I mean,
God bless
what
her.
what
I
is
know.
why are we depending on these teenagers to?
Because that's what's happened, JC. Sadly, I said this last week. I said the roles have changed. Like our children, the children are the parents, and the
Yes.
parents are the children now.
Mhm.
I'm telling y'all, if y'all watch enough of this YouTube lately, you see all these people about how they all own this and that, and they all got the ADHD and the spectrums and all. I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
floored at how many adults out there are. I mean,
Are
I'm not
coming out with
throwing
this stuff.
shade, and no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not being ugly. I'm just saying there seems to be an overwhelming amount, and they're all having children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are having it, and I scream this almost every day. If you don't want a child, do not have one. Stop having kids if you can't take care of them. If you can, or if you do want them, then go to the places you need to go to get help, but don't be killing your kids. Stop
No,
doing
you
it.
can drop a baby up at a fire station, no questions asked, and walk away.
Yeah.
Bring a baby to
I
my
think
house.
they
I'll
need
take it
to
from you.
increase the
Exactly.
age for that, for the safe baby haven. I think they need to increase the age so that people can drop off a toddler too, because we're seeing a lot of it
Oh
happen
yeah.
where,
yeah.
you know,
We
it's
have that
like,
here. We have
Yeah.
that here. You can take them no matter what age they are.
Yeah.
Our fire station, our police station.
okay,
They
because
have
I think here last I knew it was just babies. And you, I mean, you could drop them off at a police station, a fire station, a hospital, you know, all these places, no questions asked.
we
But
have
there was an age limit.
we have anonymous drop off here at our fire department, 3 of our hospitals, and the police, where you can walk in, leave the child there with somebody. You have to make sure they're with, especially if they're not a toddler, but you leave them with somebody and you walk out the door. You don't have to answer any questions or nothing. Just, it's called the Safe Haven program is what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And then the babies, we have that little, which creeps me
The
out.
box.
The 3
Yeah.
fire stations we have the little box for the like infants and stuff. But still, it's better than what the alternative has been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and those boxes aren't that bad. They're not. I mean, they're not very big, but they're temperature controlled, and people are checking them constantly.
Oh yeah. Plus, there's an
So-
alarm on it when the box is closed
Right.
on the outside.
So they're
there's an alarm-
alerted that there's a
There's an
baby
alarm
there.
that goes off. Yeah. So
It's still weird, but yeah, it could be worse. It's better than
Yeah.
better
It's
than
better
the
than the
killing your baby.
alternative. Exactly,
Better than what happened
Dago.
to
better than
Harmony.
killing the baby.
right. I just
Yeah.
don't understand people anymore. I don't get it. I mean, I don't think I think we see it more, the amount of mental illness that there is. I think it's been that way.
It's
I
due to
just think
social media.
well, that's why we see so much of it now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I think it's poisons in our food. It's social media. It's a lot of.
Yep.
100%. There's a lot of things going on, but that's why we need so much help with it. That's another show that's coming up for me soon. Is a
Yeah.
mental,
The mental health show.
That's
I'm
definitely
looking
happening.
forward to that.
So am I. I need it for my damn self.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But
We need a self-care stream.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I have to go and explain myself to the world all the time. So that's going to be something that's happening tonight too.
But
What we got to explain? What we got to explain tonight?
Well, you know,
I need to explain. Just because we talk about Delphi doesn't mean we're dark.
No.
Never mind. I forgot I was on a live. Never mind.
Where did
Damn it,
I've never
JC.
even heard that. But no, I got to explain. You remember the issue I just went through, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
I just informed people that my wife is she's going down to Alabama to visit her family because they're getting older.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, it was questioned as to how that's happening with what I just went through. And I said, so I have to go out and explain because I'm not going, Caden's not going. My wife is riding down with my son. My other son is meeting them down there. And they're staying with her Aunt Greta. There's no money.
Wait. Are so people want to know how your wife can afford a trip to go visit
people
her
are
family?
questioning that.
Well,
Yes.
because they just
Oh
helped.
my
They go
God.
out with some stuff, but that's. Man, her family
That's
could be
so
paying for that whole
stupid.
trip.
Yeah,
They're-
I
that's
couldn't pay for that
ridiculous.
trip
Like, I
for all
don't.
they know.
It's
And
not
the
even
thing is the people who gave you money are all people who love and support you. Like I donated. I don't care what you do with it. You needed money. I had some extra. I took it out of my tattoo fund.
It's not
Like, I don't need a tattoo when my friend is struggling.
how
Right.
how YouTube is, and I'm the type of person that has to get in front of things and explain shit before it goes some crazy left
Haywire.
turn somewhere and it turns
Yeah,
into
he's been through enough. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
When it comes. I let Dago handle his shit the way he sees fit.
it is
I give him
it is-
advice privately, but he gonna end up doing it the way he sees fit, and I respect it.
it gets ridiculous at times, and I'll do what I do. It irritates me, but it is what it is because I am grateful and I don't want to come off like I'm not. But like I said,
Well,
my wife is riding with my son in his car and they're staying at relatives, so there's really no money being spent.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I personally, I don't think it would hurt to talk about it just to clarify things for people, because there was another true crime YouTuber who's got a pretty big channel who was just exposed like a few days ago for contacting multiple people saying that they needed money for a certain thing, and then all of the people would send them the full amount that they requested
Oh my
from
God.
people. So instead of just getting the $200 they needed, they would get $1,000 because they went to all these different people in their community and said, "Oh my God, I
Who
need
the hell was
$200
that?
for this."
Yeah, who was that?
I'll let you guys know in Discord. I don't want to start shit.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay, that's
got you.
fine.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'll put
No,
it
no,
in
no.
back
I
chat.
get it, but that's
You know, them
Yeah,
backroom
put that in back
conversations
chat.
aren't smiled upon either, though.
yeah. But like I said, I'll be expressing or explaining that today so that nobody looks and goes, "Oh my God, oh my God." You know what I mean? And I get it because I get how people are. But that's not surprising. That is
Yeah.
that's not surprising at
That
all.
person has the nickname
Oh
they
my
have for a
God.
reason.
I knew
They
that
have the
actually.
nickname for a reason.
Yeah,
I
that
already
doesn't
knew that.
surprise me
I already
at
knew that,
all.
to be honest with you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I got to mute out. I got to run into the corner store. I had to come get cigarettes. I brought you guys with me.
All right.
Right.
But that's what I was saying. I'm gonna have to explain that tonight and then move on because I get how people would question something considering. But guys, I'm not gonna make something
Well,
like
just
that up.
because stuff happens doesn't mean that we can't still live our life. Like, I mean, my car got stolen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have to come up with 400 extra dollars a month, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does that mean that I can't still go out and go out and go to my shows and see my friends and have a good time? And no.
Right. As long
Like,
as you can afford that shit, that's on you. That's your
yeah,
thing. You know what you're doing.
I'm not gonna let anything like come between me and my sanity because
Yeah.
because I could have literally gone insane when my car got stolen, and I could still literally go insane because thinking about how I'm gonna pay for it. So
Absolutely.
to keep my sanity, I literally have to go let loose once in a while. Okay,
No,
like
everybody should.
I'm
Yes.
just gonna be real, like, and I deserve that. Like, I wasn't planning on this. I shouldn't be in this situation.
You
People are
shouldn't have to be
shitty.
punished for something somebody else did.
Yeah,
Right.
people are shitty. Like, I'm not just gonna let them win and just stay in my house the whole time
Amen.
and
Yeah. Like I
and
said,
go
I'm
go
not.
insane.
I'm not going. Caden's not going. That which is what the plan initially was. And they're staying at relatives. They're riding with my son, and that's the end of it. They're not going to
Yeah.
do any. And the only reason why this trip happens every year is my wife's relatives all live down there. Her whole family. They're all but like 3 people are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and her Aunt Thelma is 107 years old. And
Holy
that
Wow.
woman,
what?
that woman could pass at any moment, and she's afraid that if she
So if you
doesn't
don't
get
go
down
see
there,
her,
Go.
she may not get to next year.
Right.
and that's one of the reasons why this trip is always so important.
I mean,
So
it's not
Yeah.
like it's a vacation for fun. Oh, we're going to go out with friends and party. You're going to see family, or she's
And
going.
she
I remember you
deserves
said
it.
you were going to, because I remember you mentioning you wanting to check out the billboards.
yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to go.
But
but I
yeah,
can't.
but
And
I mean,
that's
now
okay.
you're not even going. But
But
people can't hold
she
it against
deserves
you that
it,
she
and
wants to go see
yeah,
her family.
Yeah, they still
exactly.
need to
That's
have
She
what I
it.
mean.
deserves to go see her family. Come on.
She already had the time off, and she was upset. And Shane, which is Juniper, my granddaughter's son, he was like, "Mom, we're still going. So why don't you just ride with me, Junie, and Grandma, because my mother-in-law's going." And
Yeah,
Joe,
make it work
said,
out. That's what families do.
Joe said he's
Yeah.
fine with it. It's not a big deal. Caden's a little pissed off, but he'll get over it. He can go next year. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And and it's a senior year anyway, and he would have missed out on they have a marching band thing, and they have a bunch of other pictures and stuff for his senior year. And he was like, I got to do this too at the same time. And I'm like, then just stay here with me, and we'll do some guy stuff and
Right.
Yeah.
It'll give
this
you and
kind of
Caden
stuff.
some alone time and give mom a break at the same
All
time.
right,
And
exactly.
all
And
the
I said,
things.
there's
Ooh,
that,
you can do a
and that's
music
the end
stream.
of it. We're gonna do that actually. Caden wants to really bad, so that's what we're doing this weekend.
There
I
we
knew it. That's
go.
why I was like, I bet he would love doing a music stream. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already asked me about it like 52 times, and I said we got to wait till the weekend, Friday or Saturday night. We'll do it. I said Mom's leaving Friday, so yeah. But that's I'll explain it just because I do that. I'm a little irritated, but I
Yeah.
get it at the same time. So I'll be
Were
explaining
people trying to talk shit about it?
one of you guys, not you, but one of the mods got a couple emails about it, and they were questioning as to how,
Yeah.
and so it was brought to my attention, and I, like I said, I do understand it to an extent, but it just kind of bugs me a little bit. What's up, buddy?
I mean, literally, all you said was my wife's going to go visit family. I may be coming live more. There was nothing really else. It wasn't like my wife's taking a ton of money and heading out of town
Yeah,
and
she's
doing
going
all
down on
going
a
to a big
Not like she's
resort,
going to
and
Disneyland.
yeah, she's
down
going to the
Caribbean and taking a cruise, and this
Yeah.
right. No, it's going to be kind of boring, but she gets to see her family, which is very exciting for her.
And it was planned.
Exactly. That's yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it is whatever.
But it's
Yeah, handle it.
I don't mind. I shouldn't have to, but I don't mind explaining it,
Right.
and then hopefully people will just say okay and get
shut
it
up.
and leave it alone. So
I mean, the
Yeah.
only reason I see really behind having to explain it is just because there are other people within the community, other content creators that are pulling some bullshit.
and I get
Yeah.
that.
Well, I tell you
Yeah.
what, though, Andy, if you're going to concern yourself with what all these creators say and do to each other and about each other, you're setting yourself up for a hard ass headache and failure. Because
Yeah.
I
And
promise you, right now, there's probably about 5 I'd like to go after, but I don't care. And only because they don't want us talking about certain things.
Mhm.
Get over yourself. I'm not the YouTube police. I'm not a call out channel. I don't want to be those things. I'm a
Right.
true crime channel. So I'm not
Right.
worried about what anybody else is saying or doing out there on these streets. And I'm not going to be the one to call them out unless they directly fuck with my victims.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Then you're fair game. But what you say
Right.
about each other on a personal level, I do not care. Been down that road with Dago. We went down y'all, some of y'all don't have a clue
Right.
as to
Amen.
how bad it got and to what all went down. So
Yeah.
this right here is laughable.
It got pretty bad. I've been through some shit, you guys. There ain't no lie. I have been over the past 2 years, a lot more than a lot of these other creators have, and I just took it on the chin and kept on going forward, and that's what I will continue to do. But at the same time, it's hardened me a bit. I was a lot softer than I am now, and a lot more. I'm. Don't get me wrong. I'm still soft, and I'm still.
I was gonna say, Dago, like
I'm still a little naive. But it works,
He just ran into some issues on the channel, not like he was too nice, but there was people that took advantage of it.
yeah.
And there were situations that were allowed to go out on because we didn't want to hurt feelings, but you can't allow certain things to happen, and he's aware of that,
Right.
Mhm.
You got
I remember hearing some rumors, and that's why, like, I went directly to you in private and was like, "Hey, you want to explain this?" And
Yeah.
you did.
Absolutely.
You're like, "Okay, so this is what happened. This is the truth."
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you what,
That's
I've been
what
around this community for a
So-
very long time. I've been around Dago a very long time. I've been through all the Idaho stuff with Dago, all the Detective John stuff with Dago, all the things. I know just about all there is to know about Dago. I'm still here.
I think you know
Right.
everything.
And
truly.
people can get mad about that if they want. They can choose not to understand it. I really don't care. But here's the thing, I like Dago. Dago's a nice guy. I like having conversations with him. We sometimes get each other worked up. It's fun. But I also will tell Dago when I don't agree with something. But we can talk about it.
Right.
And then it's up to Dago. Yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm
up
the
to
same way.
Dago.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if I value your friendship and I hear some sketchy stuff about you, I'm gonna come up and be like, "Hey, so this is what I heard. You want to tell me the truth?"
And now that you said that, let me speak on that, because that is between what you and Salty are saying right now. That is what the biggest problem out here is that people will hear something from Tom, Dick, and Jane, and then they will run and they'll tell what they just heard from Tom, Dick, and Jane to Harry and Steve, and then all of those people together will go, I'm mad at him now. He's a liar.
Yeah.
Or he did this or he did that, and make an assumption. Guess what? None of those 6 people said one word to me about that. So I have no idea. They didn't ask me, hey, is this true? Could this be this? What is the basis behind this? And therefore made an assumption, ran off angry and pissed off about something that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And now we're in this position. That is why I've told everybody from day one since I started this channel, if there's ever anything, an issue that you have, that's something you think I've done, any way that I've offended you, hurt you, any sense, whatever, come talk to me directly. If you're not comfortable, you can go to Mama Bear or any of the rest of my team, and they will either get to me, they'll explain it to you if they can't, whatever, it will be dealt with. But so many people do not do that. They just
Right.
assume, judge, and move on angry. And it's like, okay, then.
Nah,
Nothing I
I'm
can
the
do
kind
about
of
it.
friend who will, like, if I see somebody doing something that's messed up, I will call your ass out on it, no
Of
matter
course.
how much I love you.
Yeah.
I will absolutely call my friends out for their
The way it's
bullshit if
supposed to
they
be.
are
That's
doing
what a
something.
friend
And
does.
that's why when I heard stuff about you, I was like, all right, this is what I heard. What's true?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Dago, as far as I know, has been an open book.
I am 100%.
Seriously.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I have.
He really is. And
And
there's
I
not
can-
many creators
and
that
I
can
can just
say that
say
about
this.
themselves.
I
You
can
know
just say
why?
this. Like,
Excuse
when
me.
I went to CrimeCon, for instance, okay? Like, I look at all these, like, creators like, Annie and John and Danielle and, all the guys that, that were at CrimeCon. Like, I look at them as, like, famous people, okay? Because they're so big, their channels are so big and whatever. But you guys, they are the most real, like, normal people I've ever met. It was crazy to me.
Well, they all
Yeah.
started off just
Yeah,
same
they're
place
all
that
like
we are.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
It's
just so but I had this, picture in my head, like I was like starstruck, like when I went to meet them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god,
Well,
and they are so like welcoming and like so just embracing, I guess. And Rachel is like the most like down to earth, like conversational person ever.
Mhm.
Like
I
love
get it.
her to death.
You know, it's
there
funny.
are a
that-
lot of good creators out there, and there's a lot of bad, just like people. I heard a
Yeah.
creator say, what type of person becomes a defense attorney? They have to be dark.
Mm,
Just like you're
Uh,
dark if you discuss the options in Delphi. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
that's ridiculous.
And that came from somebody who claims to be very knowledgeable and sensible and critical thinker.
Mhm.
What the hell did you just say?
And that's what
Makes
I was
no
talking,
sense.
and Dago and I have talked about this before. Like, this is why I like this kind of stuff, is because of the critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes you think about everything,
I think
and
that's why we all kind of like it, because it well, I know for a fact Salty,
it's
I know
challenging.
he's into it, and me, we both love like forensics and that kind of stuff, and it makes you really listen and look and like think about that. And that when you challenge yourself,
Yes.
Hmm.
what it's about. That's what it's about to me. Like, okay, what does this mean? And then
You know how
you
many
challenge
cases
that.
I've challenged myself on?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, it's
I
like,
do it with Idaho all the time.
I do too. I do
Yes,
too.
yes.
I
I
thought
did it
one
today.
way, and
I
I'm
did
like,
it today
ooh,
when
this
Eddie came
guy.
up and told
Yeah.
his theory. I'm sitting there listening to it. And I don't wholeheartedly agree with Eddie on that. I like him.
Right.
I think he's a great guy. He's very intellectual and he's very intelligent. And it takes a lot for Eddie to get up on a panel and talk. Period. Okay. And I respect that because, and I always have. I've always reached out to people like that and said, "Hey, come on over here. I'm there with you. I got you. We'll do this together." And people should always have the ability to express their voices and their feelings. And I always believe that. So I gave him the platform. I allowed him to speak his mind because sometimes people have to say what they're feeling or what they're thinking, or they'll blow up. They can't just sit on it like that. And he said it.
Mhm.
We don't have to agree with him, and he knows that. That's his interpretation, his feelings, his opinion, and he knows how I feel. And he said, some of this stuff is going to be this way. Now, Eddie has a way with words sometimes that he doesn't quite get what he's saying, can bother people sometimes. And he's told me that himself. And I said, that's why I asked him today. I said, are you trying to be insulting when you're saying, no, no, no.
Oh,
I
dude,
said,
he said no.
but
I'll get you the replay. He said it.
I know what
Said
he
it
said.
more than once. And I'm
know
like,
what he
I will respect you and let you go with your theory because I've already heard your theory, Eddie, many, 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 many times. But what you can't do is sit up there and say, what are you going to do when it slaps you in the face? Like, you're insulting my intelligence
Well,
now, and
that
I'm
one
not
I
going to
should
take
have
it.
said. I want that one I should have said something, but I know he was reading from something he wrote down, like a script.
Well, I know he was too. It was
Oh, yeah.
scripted.
I think
Crank much, Eddie? I'm sorry.
I think that he feels so strongly about that he was actually in turn somewhat angry about the people that think differently than him, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's quite
I agree with
obvious.
you. I agree with you on that remark. Really, I do. But
There was a
I
couple of things he said like that was like, you're welcome. I'm sitting here listening, just like I listened to, one of Sarge's big theory layouts one night, and I didn't have any problems with it. I was doing Eddie the same way. But when you're gonna sit up there and tell everybody they're being stupid
you don't need to do
and
that,
we
right?
don't see what's in front of our face, I'm
Yep.
sorry. You
You
take
don't
a
need to
seat.
do that. That's
Take a
absolute.
seat.
That's one
Because you
thing
don't
I
want me doing that to you.
that's one thing I definitely disagree with is you can have your feeling, and I'm right there with her on this, you guys. You can have your feeling about something and you can be strong about it. You can be, it can be what you truly believe. That's great. I respect that. Don't ever, and that's what I scream in my channel. Don't attack somebody else because they don't feel the same way you do. That's wrong. You would
Right.
not want somebody to do that to you, and it has happened to him in that sense. So I'm gonna call him and I'm gonna say, hey, listen, this is what has come out of this. I said, whether you believe that that's what you were doing or not, it comes off that way, dude. You shouldn't do that, and that's gonna be our conversation. He may
Yeah.
get upset with me. He may not. He may understand. He's usually pretty understanding because I've had these conversations with him before.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that I gotta say I was not real enthused about because it did come off very kind of arrogant and cocky. And
Yeah.
that there's no call for that. There's none at all. If people were in the chat were supporting you, they were being very understanding.
Exactly.
So there
Yeah.
was no reason to get upset if you did. I think it was just a
Hey, I
build up.
wasn't there when he left panel. I wasn't there. Did he get upset and leave or
No,
something?
no, no, no,
No,
no,
he
Oh,
no,
okay.
finished.
no. But
He
I
Oh,
think
finished
okay.
everything.
I think that
Oh, did we have any conclusions from his other
Not
than
really.
shade at the roommates?
Not
Okay.
not really. He just wanted to get out what he thought and how he felt, and I gave him that time and this and that, and I
It
made sure
hasn't
everybody knows.
changed from all the other times he said it, but okay. Nothing new. Gotcha.
I don't think
I'm putting away
there's
clothes,
only
guys. I'm
one.
listening.
There was only one thing that was a little bit different, but yeah, it's been that way for a while now. And he
The only
does.
thing that I really didn't like was that he was speaking in absolutes a lot. Like when he was like, "When did we first know that Brian didn't do it or that Brian's
Well,
innocent?" And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, what?"
that's part
Well,
of his.
I know all that. See, that Eddie's not the only one
Oh no,
with
a
an
lot of people.
encyclopedia brain on Idaho 4. And
Yeah.
other people come to me, well, the PCA says, isn't that? Hold on, let me pull it up and show you exactly what it says, because I know.
I mean,
I've
'cause I'm
torn that
still
thing
very,
front to back,
very
sideways.
50-50 on it.
I can show you where all the phone pings line up with that card movement in the PCA, because it didn't make sense to all them people who all these numbers were scattered all about this. Sit down with that document and you write down all the car pings, and then you go write down all the car camera sightings and tell me they don't match, because they do.
Yeah.
Until that phone goes off. What it's doing after that, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if Carbrugger, he did anything or not, but I know when he left that apartment, headed toward Moscow, everywhere they claimed that phone was, the car was also seen on a camera. Beyond that, I don't know what they got. But you can't dispute that. It's right there in black and white.
Oh,
Right.
doodle. Doodle.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even paying
What
attention.
The chat.
What'd she say? I gotta go look.
Doodle.
How come I can't see the chat?
Oh, she said I'm talking to myself. No, you're not. I
She
see
might
Oh, wait,
be the
there's
only
the
one in
chat.
chat.
I don't even
Um,
see Doodle's comments. I don't know what's
I
going
don't know
on.
why your chat didn't show up for me either at first.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is our back chat.
I don't even see that. I just see one thing. It doesn't give me the option for back chat or comment or nothing. I had to pull
When
it
I
up.
click comments, I see back chat. I saw what Andy said, but that's all I see. I see
Yeah.
no chat. Let
um,
me look at the
is that-
desktop and see. I'm on my phone. Let me
is
look.
that
Hello, me. Meet the real me. Talking to yourself, Doodle.
But okay, I'm gonna let you guys go because I know we have to get ready for Dago's live here in a little bit. So Dago, are you going live in about what 35-40 minutes?
Yeah, that's about right. Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna let you guys go about 25 minutes ago, but y'all were
Oh,
talking, so
okay.
I didn't want to interrupt. But
Sorry,
I was just
JC.
hanging out.
We
Sorry.
hijacked your
I
shit,
just want to
girl.
give you. I didn't want to interrupt, but I do want to give you guys time to get ready for Dago's live.
No
so.
worries. No worries.
And
Thank
I'll
Yeah.
be
you,
there
and
too.
thanks for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
you very
thank you
much.
guys
Yep.
for coming up and
Yeah, I gotta let my phone get a hard charge because I
Sup-
can't sit at this desktop the
sup-
whole time. I got to go outside where I can
supporting
smoke
me
and
and
stuff.
learning how to do this on my new.
Oh, you're
Anytime.
welcome, JC. Anytime.
Anything you need, hon. If you have any
Anytime.
questions or anything, let us know, please.
Yeah, because of what I don't know, Dago knows. So I was able to get her through this part, but I was like, oh, that's all what I know.
And
So,
that's all I
good
needed.
stuff.
I just the StreamYard part, I guess, was kind of the part that was getting me.
yeah.
Yeah, it can be a pain in the butt sometimes.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
all
Dago,
right.
I'm gonna jump down as well and get some things finished up and get ready, and I'm gonna send you a couple of links here in a minute, okay?
All right, guys. I'll see
Nice.
you
Thank
guys
you,
soon.
Salty.
Thank
I
you,
will see you
JC.
guys over at Dago's.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for letting me up too.
Yes. Thank you for coming, Andy. I appreciate it.
I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you to Dago, Salty, and Andy for joining me. I finally got this figured out, so I think we're going to be good. Now the hard part, I just have to figure out a schedule and what's going to go on. I did hit on a couple things. And I have some, things that I want to talk about from CrimeCon that I haven't got to. Okay, Kay, it's okay. It they will be happening more often now that I have this figured out because I was not Salty helped me on the StreamYard. So but yeah, I'll let you know when I do another one. Might be I don't know what next Friday's date is, and what I have going on, but I wasn't going to be able to do many lives, but now that things have happened, I am. And now that I have this figured out, it will be a lot better and more convenient for me. So I will let you guys know. I thank everyone for joining me. Salty and I talked about a lot of good stuff. Kind of a hodgepodge, but and I always learn something from Delphi with her. So I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you. Go join Dago in a little bit. All right. Have a good night, guys, and see you next time.